they have initiated. So their professional capability is questionable. So Munir has done a self-goal this time, and the way he had given a speech that day, about a week prior to 22nd April, and tried to incite Hindu-Muslim divide in India, that is number one. Then he tried to bring in Islam part of it, a two-nation theory. So it has fallen back. It has proved to be counterproductive. Now today in J&K, the people are up and against Pakistan, the same people who have been their proxies. So there is a paradigm shift in the way people are thinking as on date, and I do not think this war-like situation will continue for a longer time. Pakistan, of course, will continue holding press conferences, try and portray themselves as victims. They will try and deny the damage part of it the way they did in Balakot.
On Newsline right here, in fact, we did relay a report on how Pakistan barely has the ammunition to pass 4 days of intense war. They can't sustain. They have barely enough ammunition. They've sold off a lot of their artillery to Ukraine at that point for quick buck. Because their economy was dwindling. Now they've given out budgets for defense spends for up to 18% higher than what was. So Pakistan at this point is panic spending to see if they can get some machinery now. But this is just aftermath. They haven't been prepared for something like this.
They do not have money to buy sophisticated weapons like that we have. And we have demonstrated that we have technological edge. And all means if you look at the history, whichever country has got better technology, they have been the winners. And India has showcased our technological prowess and loud and clear to Pakistan. And even if they want to purchase additional weapon system, it will take time, and they possibly cannot match Indian economy for purchasing of sophisticated weapons. So therefore, it is Pakistan on the back foot as of now. The best thing for them is to reconcile to the fact, and they must come to negotiating table and promise that they will not support the terror actions at all in future against India.
Asking for this is asking for too much from Pakistan, because going by the analysts who have been writing on Pakistan, and I would like all of you to comment on that. Recently there was an article that was written, and it said that there has to be a reciprocal response and little extra, and India is very much aware of it, that the Pakistan may implement that. Even during the Balakot dogfight, there was an international pressure on Pakistan, but the response came, and our military exercise is on. So Air Marshal Chaudhary, my question to you is, do you see a sort of a missile response on part of Pakistan? Should we expect some sort of a dogfight which took place in the line of control? Because a lot of people who have not served in armed forces, who watch the armed forces from outside, would definitely like to know what is on the plate. We have suspended flights, the airports have been closed, schools have been closed.
Pakistan has the ammunition. If you really look at it, they have enough Chinese hardware. But where's the efficacy of it?
I mean to say, and in terms of Air Force capacity, I'm sure that they don't have the parity, but they still have some important equipment, if I may use the word, the 4th generation plus aircrafts. So they have the inventory there. So what sort of a counter response India should look to? I mean, so that's my question to you. That's what people would like to know. कि अब ये करेगा क्या Pakistan?
Till now, most of the time, I think the Pakistani army in the past actions and past wars, Pakistani army had been on the driver's seat. And when Balakot happened, it was the first time we carried out an airstrike inside their airspace, right under the noses. And the PAF was, pushed to a corner where they had to respond in some form or manner, because they were put on the mat by their own people. Says, what are you doing? How have an enemy air force been able to carry out a strike on our territory? That's what they claim. And under our noses. So they were pushed to response. This time also around, the PAF will also be pushed to response. And using air power gives you also an option of carrying out standoff attacks. And most certainly, I think they would have worked out some game plan on their own, on their minds. And this is certainly, and all militaries do. But let me put one fact clear, is that I think the Indian armed forces we've known this all along. You know, the typical challenges which the PAK army has with its civilian population, and what the need for them to act and show. But one thing is vastly different from the past. I mean, if you see the long wars in the past, the geopolitical scenario in the world was entirely different, and there was a whole lot of support from the US for Pakistan and UK and a lot of the Western world, in fact, in '71. But things have changed. It's a different world today. It's 50 years, half a century down the line, and today India is an entirely different country. It's a country of enormous respect and which credibility. So actions taken, and the world has seen that our military, whenever it has always operated with great restraint, a great deal of concern to ensure, that we don't hurt civilians. And that's what exactly we have done again this time. And we had an option.
Been India's culture. And I'd say it's because India has a lot to lose. We have, India cares about its civilians, its people. We have a lot to lose. We are the fourth largest economy as per IMF's latest data. We have a lot to lose. Pakistan has nothing to lose. Their economy is dwindling. Their hardliners are taken over the army, and the civilians are frustrated. They barely have 2 meals. In fact, the gap between the rich and poor is exponential in Pakistan. The country is in dumps, and they won't survive. This attack, they will not survive. Would you be able to tell us, even though some might say that this is just a touch and go attack that India has carried out, but I hear from sources that this is just phase 1 of the attack that India has carried out against Pakistan. If any one of you want to jump in, PK Mishra, sir, your take on if this is India's beginning against Pakistan, if it's phase 1 and there are multiple phases to continue, and will Pakistan survive this?
Yes, you are very correct. It is just the beginning, just to show what we can do if we have done Pahalgam. And look the name, what has been given for the operation, Operation Sindoor. You understand why that name was given.
All the men were killed.
Not depicted for the ladies who lost their husband.
Only men were targeted.
We take credit for this name, even what was given, Operation Sindoor. We are really thankful that this name has come. And Pakistan, I can well tell you, as we were just discussing, they will, suppose if they lose, they will come for a discussion. I will tell you, no. Pakistan, as far I understand, they will never come to any discussion with India on table. Either it will be diplomatically or politically, till General Munir and Lieutenant General Asif Malik, they are in power. Shahbaz is not there in power. So let us forget that Pakistan will come for a discussion. They will never come for a discussion. And I'm very sure the retaliation will be there. The response will be there by General Munir, and where we should watch and see. It may be towards Katwa or towards Jammu from Sialkot. It may be in Punjab sector. Nobody knows, but that doesn't mean that we are not ready. The counter response will be very heavy, and you know it pretty well that we do not have any militant camps in India. So are they going to hit our army installation, air force installation, or civil installation, or corporates, or the markets? If they do it, the whole world will come to know, and then India will hit them very badly, and we're capable of hitting them. Because I am telling you, as far as Navy is concerned, Pakistan Navy is concerned, as far as Karachi port is with Turkey warship, this shows that Pakistan Navy is not capable enough to come to face our Indian Navy.
Yeah, and that's precisely my next question. My question was on Pakistan's capabilities. General Rameshwar, if you would want to chime in on that, on Pakistan's artillery, as much as they've got support from China, they have some some classic ammunition with them that's powerful. Some of them could outdo even the ones that we have. But in terms of size, of course, India has the sheer scale. They do not. Will they be able to sustain a long war with India, and how long, if at all?
You see, war is sustained through economic. All right, and Pakistan, as on date, is not in a state that they can sustain a long war. So they have a compulsion now to keep it short, and whatever they want to do, even if they want to use the artillery, you see, artillery firing across the LC makes no difference. It has got no meaning at all. You see, and we can retaliate, and we have got much better equipment, and our quantity-wise, we have got much larger inventory that we have as on date. You had seen in Kargil war, it was artillery. Because of that, the Bofors that we had, this was one of the major factors of the defeat. So we should not read too much into what they have in RT. Basically, it is the infantry that is one that captures the ground. RT is there to support. Air Force is to support on all arms and services. It is the integrated battle that we have. And when we look at the integrated battle, the Indian Army is far superior to Pakistan Army. And moreover, look at the way we have gone about. We have taken 14 to 15 days to plan all our contingencies, all our phases and everything. And this is the phase one only, and it is like an iceberg. And in case Pakistan escalates the NJ, then they are going to have it nice and proper from Indian Army, and they possibly cannot sustain a long war against India as of now. And the entire international community is along with India, and India has been keeping them in loop while carrying out this small operation that we have done.
Absolutely.
So it is only the big thing. It is for Pakistan to take the cue and mend the way.
Absolutely, sir. There's another thing I would like to join Mr. Chaudhary, sir. There's then there's the two questions which I want to ask. The first question is, there's also a shift in India's response. If you look at Balakot, if you look at this Operation Sindoor, Air Force is playing a prominent role. Air Force is playing a prominent role. Our bulk buying, our focus of the political establishment has been refurbishing the entire Air Force structure, because it was undergoing a transformation. MiG-21 were retired, MiG-21 Bisons were retired, Rafale M integrated with the naval platforms. Everything is being done. I mean, one doesn't need to go into details of how Indian Air Force is being modernized. Last big acquisition took place when Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister in the early 1980s. After that, such bigger acquisitions have taken, C-130 and other stuff. So, do you think that this operation could have been carried out from the border itself with weapon range of 300 kilometers? Or do you think our jets must have crossed the border? I mean to say, if you can just shed some light on it, and sort of a ammo that may have been used, sir. The platform that may have been deployed, sir.
Okay, see, two things I want to bring out here. Warfare has changed, and if you've seen the recent wars all over the world, air power has always has sort of played a huge role, simply because the huge amount of technology-assisted capabilities which air power brings to the table. And today's warfare is all about standoff, precision targeting, mass and precision, and air power does that very well. And you don't really have to cross the borders if your targets are within your weapon system ranges, and that is what exactly any country would have done, and that's what has been happening in Israel, in Gaza, in fact, the world over, and especially in Ukraine and Russia. What is interesting here is that when you use force, it's a question of what are you targeting. When you do military targeting, then there is an entirely different connotation to it. We have been very clear in our targeting, whatever means and weapons, and we would have most certainly used the right measure. It's like, when you treat an illness, you give the right dosage. And that's exactly what we have done. We have done a very measured act, and I'm sure our leadership would have looked into, our military leadership also would have come together and looked into all the options available at what is the right thing to be used in the right place. I would not like to go into the details of the kind of weapons and platforms which could have been used, because I'm sure you understand that. And I'm glad TV9 has taken such a responsible step, which you wouldn't like to, compromise on any of the fact of what we are really, what our armed forces are capable of and what they will or are likely to do. But what we must bear in mind that this, like though Pakistan calls it an act of war, it is we are very clear, and this is exactly how we have projected it. I'm sure in the meeting at 10 o'clock and the press conference at 10 o'clock will articulate exactly to the international arena and international fora that what exactly we have done and make that very clear. Yes, there will be a lot of rhetoric and aspect coming out from Pakistan, but do remember that when our military, it's a very different beast compared to the past. Our India's resilience and approach to the continued those 1,000-cut strategy of Pakistan. Yes, we have reached our level of tolerance. They have breached our red lines, and yet, and that is what I must emphasize even now, that and yet, even in these attacks, we have shown tremendous restraint. We are capable of way much more.
Now, would you say then, Air Marshal Diptendu, that this is precedent set, that India's full frontal attack that it's carried out this time will be the norm going forward in terms of cross-border counter-terror measures?
No, we are a very mature country. We don't respond like some other nations do. Whereas, for example, Israel has an existential threat. Whereas we are a big country, we're a solid economy, and we don't take things lightly. So we will do things in a very measured scale, and our scale is vast and deep. So it is bring it on. It's like a game of chess. You raise the ante, we will raise it, and our capability of response is so much more. So I'm sure with the Pakistani military leadership who are calling the shots in the whole political game there. Are well aware of this.
Okay, 10 o'clock, the press conference will take place. And let me remind our viewers, these visuals are coming all across India. Political parties have started to respond to it. Jaishankar has responded. Rahul Gandhi has responded. Every political party, every political leader has officially supported the stand of the government. They use the word Jai Hind. I think that's the word to be used. But the most important part is that after Uri, India dropped something which was tagged on our head, on our shoulder, was strategic restraint. I think strategic restraint was not paying any dividend. After 26/11, we did not mount any attack. There was no kinetic attack. There was a debate which took place. Shiv Shankar Menon said, the former National Security Advisor, he wanted some sort of a kinetic attack. But then at that point of time, no kinetic attack took place. Now the kinetic attack has taken place not once, not twice, thrice. Openly acknowledged, the cross-border operations did take place, but they were never politically acknowledged. I think the rubric, India has also reshaped the battle theatre. India is saying that it will not be confined on the LOC or along the LOC. The battle theatre will be the entire Pakistan. And we also understand that the Pakistan is a nuclear armed state. That is why I completely agree with Air Marshal Chaudhary that our response was measured. You wanted to come in, sir?
Yeah, I just want to, now that you said, strategic restraint is over, I think we can probably, bring in a new factor here, that this is a measured and a mature response. India's outlook has changed.
Yes, India's outlook has changed. I completely agree with you. General Chopra, you wanted to come in. I think you had raised your hand. Sorry, I missed you.
Yeah. The 3-4 factors which the panelists have been bringing out, like firstly, we are fourth largest economy and they are nowhere. They're in the doldrums. They're looking for World Bank aid, IMF aid. Secondly, if you look at the figures of the armed forces, comparing the Army, Navy, Air Force, they are nowhere equal to us. We are at least 100% more than them. Secondly, because of the ammunition and the FOS, they are very low on their reserves. Thirdly, in case there is a long haul, a prolonged operation, it will suit us because they are drawing their forces which are in the counter-terrorism or counter-insurgency operations in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. The insurgencies will get revived there and they'll strike the Pakistanis and the Chinese asset, and Pakistan will be in turmoil where the people will force the army to see reason and undo the terrorist infrastructure. This is what I wanted to bring out. And second point why I wanted to bring out, like we have said, this is the third time we are attacking. First time, because of political resolve and the preparedness of the army, the correct directions were there. We went for a surgical strike. Next time, when they again did the mischief with us, they were prepared on the land. We did Balakot. This time, again, they are prepared in both these spheres. We have an integrated approach, which is very, very successful. And we had all these surprise and deception plans. As they say, the coming of the brave is to win war without fighting. And there's no war which can be won without deception. We have applied all the statecraft and all the military human professionalism with this attack. I hope the Pakistani side understands this and controls their tempers and controls their masses and doesn't escalate the war. But whenever they escalate the war, we'll be always top and in control and on top of the escalated ladder because of our correct political directions and the preparedness of the three services.
Okay. Now let me take the viewers and show them the terrain of the attack. Now this is LOC. Muzaffarabad is up there. You know, latitude wise, it's up there. It's above Srinagar. So this is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Muzaffarabad, Kotli, Gulpur, Bhimber, Sialkot. Now this is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. That is where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks have taken place. So this is very important. Now, where the other attacks took place, which is Punjab, Chak Amru, Muridke and Bhavalpur. Now Muridke and Bhavalpur are very important. Muridke and Bhavalpur are important because these areas are terror hubs. That's where the recruitment takes place. Kasab was from Punjab. Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Toiba, they are headquartered in these two cities. This entire area of Punjab has become the recruitment ground for the terrorists. People think that, you know, people are being changed here in the madrasa. Sorry, the maximum madrasa activity has taken place here in the areas between Bhavalpur and Muridke. These are the areas where the terrorists are actually settled. Why? Because they feel safer there. They feel that in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, it can be a safe game by the Indian armed forces. But we have given the message that there is no safe place, there is no place to hide. And you know, and Bhavalpur is south of Punjab. It's not north of Punjab, it's south of Punjab. Look where Bhavalpur is. Bhavalpur actually borders Rajasthan. So it's deep inside Pakistan, it's deep inside Punjab, and we have done a huge, broad attack starting from POK to Bhavalpur, which means that the breadth and depth was not something which was envisaged by Pakistan. Yes, Pakistani army was on high alert, the systems were in place, it's a country, but then they never expected that the attack would take place like that. They thought that, you know, the artilleries would boom or some sort of a conventional LOC push would take place, but we have actually gone inside Pakistan and hit at the terrorist headquarters. Now, what India will need to know, because Pakistan is claiming a lot of things, I'm not going to put them out, they will be not part of our coverage. In context of the dogfight and other things, let the official statement from the government of India come on what has actually happened. But clearly it shows that missiles were used, Indian Air Force was involved. These strikes did not have any sort of, I would say, army operation. This is not where those tactical units were sent. This was a pure play where we busted the terror hideouts. We must have used loitering ammunition, maybe the drones would have been used. How they have done it is something which the government needs to explain. But Muzaffarabad, Kotli, Gulpur, Bhimber, Sialkot, Chak Amru, Muridke, Bhavalpur. Bhavalpur is the 12th biggest city of Pakistan. It's the 12th biggest city of Pakistan, and Bhavalpur, Muridke are the harvesting grounds. That's where you harvest terrorists in Pakistan. These are the areas. It's not the Baluchistan, it's not the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where they have their own battles to fight with the Pakistan government. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa believes that, you know, they don't belong to Pakistan. Baluchistan is openly up in arm against the Pakistan government. There's a running insurgency. It was taken over through military annexation by Pakistan during Jinnah's time. It was known as the state of Kalat. And in fact, for a couple of months, it also flew its flag in Karachi. And these are the visuals which we are running.
That
We will
came
give
in
you
right from the start of the day. In
Nabila.
fact, this was what really broke the news. This video came in at 1:44 a.m. precisely this morning, late night, whatever you call it. But it really showed that India has avenged the deaths of 26 innocent lives. This was India's way of getting back. Operation Sindoor was termed to be a success by our forces itself. Right after this operation was carried out, we had our platforms of our forces and the government saying that Operation Sindoor has been a success. So all 9 targets they've successfully struck, and they've exactly hit their target. Many of those targets are terror strongholds, terror hideouts, terror centers, the Jaish, the LET, and a lot more. This was a targeted and calibrated attack which India has studied before going forward. Unlike Pakistan, who constantly postures and heckles saying if any escalation happens, we will punch the nuclear button. I mean, mindlessly, literally mindlessly. They are a nuclear power, but are irresponsible to the extent they sound silly.
But I think, no, if you look at all the wars, I think nuclear weapons are like they're the guarantees for the survival of the state. They are not used in war. If you look at Ukraine, Russians have not used even the tactical battlefield nuclear weapon. I think that this is all part of our rhetoric, Nabila. These weapons are not to be used. These are the weapons to be demonstrated. So I don't think anyone on the Indian side also thought that the Pakistan would dare do it, because you see the response would be so strong that it would destroy the country. So they're just supposed to be kept, like let's say like a window shopping. They're there, but they're not supposed to be used. So I think that was never part of the matrix. Now, what is part of the matrix is what sort of a symmetrical or asymmetrical response the Pakistan will indulge in, because military will do it. You know, it's a given. And what sort of a counter strike, or what sort of a how are we going to absorb that strike, or how are we going to get back again with another strike? You know, that's called the cycle of escalation, escalation ladder management. That's the most important part. For example, between Israel and Iran, when the Americans struck Qasem Soleimani, there was a barrage of missile strike by Iran. Americans did not retaliate the third time. You know, when the Hamas chief was killed in Tehran, there was a barrage of attack on Israel, but they only demonstrated a capacity of striking deep inside Iran, which is their drone landed next to an airbase. So sometimes these escalatory ladders are responses to showcase what you can do, but what you have not done. I don't know what Pakistan will do, because for right now it's going to be an open season with these army generals. There is no democratic accountability. Who do you speak to in Pakistan? You know, how do you speak to them? And how many generals decide what's happening? It's not like an Indian army. It's not a professional institution.
But it's very surprising. I don't know if it's surprising. Maybe you can break it down for us on Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister, who says that they have fully backed the Pakistan army. We know that they've been bickering.
Shehbaz Sharif has no option, because you see, look at the Pakistan politics. Before we take a break, let me just say, after that we'll take a break. What has been the Pakistani state from 1980s onwards? It's Benazir Bhutto, Benazir Bhutto's family, Benazir Bhutto's husband, Benazir Bhutto's son. Then you have the family of Sharif. It was Nawaz Sharif, now it's Shehbaz Sharif. In between you have Imran Khan, a popular politician, but once a stooge of Pakistani army wanted to become better than them, they have jailed him. So that's what's left of the Pakistan's politics.
But the common man of Pakistan are frustrated with their own army. How is it that they're not able to topple the army? Why is there no power that the government wields? And now when an attack like this happens, they're all standing strong with the army.
There is also one thing we have to accept. There is a common man or a common woman in Pakistan, but there is an anti-India bias which is pervasive, and Pakistani army gets strength from that bias. Munir wouldn't have been able to get away with the statement which he gave on the two-nation theory. Which is they believe in the two-nation theory. That is why the Pakistan exists. We'll talk about it, but after a short break.
Yeah.
Mama must be missing us, na? won't spin, give me one day. Feel the itch under my skin, it's a one day. You believe it when you see me and done, hey. It doesn't matter, just gotta get going.
New GT line, Taigun and Virtus. Volkswagen.
What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every seam, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers, the Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas.
In a huge setback for bike taxi services in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu races ahead with 9.69% growth rate, India's fastest growing state this year. Good for Tamil Nadu. You may not be directly involved with what your son or daughter does, but your influence does work. My name is Sudha Sadanand. Welcome to the South Indian.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9, English news as it should be.
So big development has taken place, and now let me tell you, without wasting any time, the importance of the targets we have hit. These are the importance of the targets. We have hit 9 targets in Pakistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It was a joint operation by Indian Army, IAF and Navy. India has responded to April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack. Pakistan has confirmed the missile attack. We have hit the terrorist infrastructure. India's response was measured and non-escalatory. No Pakistani military facilities were targeted. Service chiefs to brief media at 10 a.m. CCS to convene at 11. And the most important aspect, let me bring this to you so that we have a sense what we have targeted. Bhavalpur, 100 km inside Pakistan. Muridke, 30 km inside Pakistan. Gulpur, 35 km inside Pakistan. Savai camp, 30 km inside Pakistan. Bilal camp, distance is not specified, but the Kotli camp is 15 km, Barnala camp 10 km, Sarjal camp 8 km, and Behmuna camp 15 km. So these were deep strikes, these were not shallow strikes. So what we have done, we have gone inside and conducted deep strike inside Pakistan. Very soon we are going to have a press conference by the 3 armed chiefs. All the representatives will be there, and this is something very, very important. Let me again take you through. Markaz Subhan Allah Bhavalpur, that was a Jaish-e-Mohammed camp. Markaz Taiba Muridke, Lashkar-e-Toiba camp. Sarjal Tehra Kala, Jaish-e-Mohammed camp. Memuna Jawada Sialkot, Hizbul Mujahideen camp. Markaz Ahle Hadith Barnara, Lashkar-e-Taiba camp. Markaz Abbas Kotli, Jaish-e-Mohammed camp. Maskar Rahil Shahid Kotli, Hizbul Mujahideen camp. Shawai Nalla camp, Muzaffarabad, Lashkar-e-Toiba, and Saidna Bilal camp, Muzaffarabad. Lot of countries are reacting to it. I can just say at this point of time that it's a big attack that has taken place. And in this attack, India has proved its mettle, Nabila.
Yeah.
India has proved that they have the capacity, we have the will, we have the patience, and we have the system to get back at Pakistan. And I would
justice has been served. I
Just-
think that's
just-
what the
justice-
Indian government
justice-
has been saying
absolutely.
right from the time this news broke out. India was very quick to acknowledge that they have carried out Operation Sindoor. It was a formal statement that came out from India, and India very clearly, breaking it down, said they had enough links to suggest that Pakistan was behind the Pahalgam attack, and therefore they went after these terror hideouts. It was strategic. There were no civilians harmed. As per India's statement, they say very clearly the target were terror hideouts or terror centers. No military camp or no military station was targeted in Pakistan. So therefore, this was calibrated response, calling the Operation Sindoor a massive success.
Okay, and General Shivane, AB Shivane joins me, sir. Thank you so much. It's a very good morning. Thank you to have you on our show, News 9. Sir, your opening comments on the terror strike, sir.
I think it has once again shown India's zero tolerance for terror and India's resolve that it will not, repeat, not accept proxy war as a means to weaken the nation. And if anyone so dares in a misadventure, it will get a response which is out of proportion to that which has been launched in this misadventure. And to that extent, let me very clearly say, the response has not been a knee-jerk response. It has come at a time, 12:09 a.m. is planned so that the response in the next 5 to 6 hours, if at all, by the adversary gets curtailed. It was a very planned time. The place of choosing, you have already named the 9 specific terrorist targets deep inside. It's a deep strike. It's a deep hit, and hit which will last, because there have been places not only in line of control, but we have now crossed the Bhavalpur. Crossed in the sense we have launched standoff missile attacks across the international border, which is something which is totally new. And it's a tri-service operation in which not only the 9 terrorist camp, primarily their areas where they were holding the terrorists, training the terrorists next to masjid and madrasas, they have been specifically targeted. I have got the details of the specific names of the places where they have targeted. So there is a place which is set aside. Then the intensity is the third factor which has to be taken in here. It was a controlled escalation from own side being launched, not crossing the LOC line of control or the international border. And more importantly, look at the methodology. The methodology was today, when we talk with the Indian Army, the year of the transformation, year of technology, and there were people who were saying that we not come up to that. Look at technology manifesting through the Indian armed forces across the international border and LC in terms of effect. This is called mass precision warfare. You don't have to cross today's warfare in this.
If I may have you ponder on this a little more on how technology was used, because we're very interested to know. And of course, Air Marshal Diptendu did say that you can't divulge details to that extent. But I'd still like to probe on what may be the kind of ammunition India has used. If you could even just touch upon it.
Sorry, is that to me?
Why not? You know, we are gently,
you or General Shivane.
We're gently prodding you, because the last time when I asked this question, you refused to speak on it. So we are gently prodding you.
You know, the kind of the range of weapons that we have has been built up over the years, and we have built up capabilities to respond in a manner. We've had weapon systems which we didn't talk about. We've had them for quite some time to come, and we are trained with them. We are skilled in their use, and it's like that. You keep your powder warm for the day you need it, and you don't let the people know what is the kind of weapons that you have. And I think that is something very important we must bear in mind. Just do understand, because there are connotations in this when you get down to specifics of weapon system. But yes, there would have been a mix of all kinds of air launched, surface launched weapon systems of different kind. There could be missiles, rockets. There could be drones. There could be light ammunition. It would be and if you see the kind of targeting which we have done, which was very interestingly, when you brought up the details, most of these targets, in fact, all of these targets have in some way, apart from being headquarters, or in some way or the other, have been linked to our past attacks down the years, right from 26/11. So what is important here is that depending on the depth of the target system from the border, the suitable weapon would have been chosen. And we have a wide range of weapon systems, which we'll leave it at that. And I'm sure the military, the armed forces are all together in a very concerted, clear manner. And we have worked out, they would have worked out. They're hardcore professionals who don't, make much hoo-ha, unlike the Pakistani military, of what we are capable of. And I think what is folding out is, I'm sure there's like a chess game, there's a huge depth of actions and plans put in place, which have been worked out in detail. And as I said, it's now the ball is in their court, and it depends entirely on how Pakistan responds. Rest assured, I'm sure we have measured response going up to the escalatory ladder if it comes to pass.
I do want to ask, though, General Shivani, if you could come in on that, on the kind of support that India may have should this war escalate, and should Pakistan react in a way where we will then have to respond in full measure. I still feel more of a surgical strike and not the whole hog. I think India can do a lot more. That's just me passionately speaking after what happened in Pahalgam. But if you speak critically, what kind of help does India have? Who are the allies of India? I'm going to play out Donald Trump's reaction, President of the United States, where he's called this a generational feud between India and Pakistan, which doesn't sit well with me, to be honest. Why is there nobody acknowledging that they're a terror harbor?
Absolutely. And so we'll play out the bite, and once we are back after the bite, there's another question. Any one of you can jump on that question. Okay. Artillery has started to boom in LOC, that's breaking, and I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it's after a couple of years that the artillery is being used. For last 2.5 years, only small weapons were being used, heavy weapons were not being used on LOC. Artillery has boomed. What does it mean when artillery is deployed? But after we play out the bite of Donald Trump.
Do we have Donald Trump?
It's a shame. We just heard about it just as we were walking in the doors of the Oval. Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time. They've been fighting for many, many decades and centuries, actually, if you really think about it. No, I just hope it ends very quickly.
And that's the same Donald Trump who's taken a hard stance against Hamas, who's gone out all support for Israel, who's spoken about anti-terror operations and how they stand against terrorism in every given opportunity of his speech, and in every country and every given platform. When it comes to India, Pakistan, somehow Donald Trump or any other president of the United States has never really admitted that there is an inherent problem of terror breeding on Pakistan's ground. Why is it so hard for them to realize that this is more than just two neighbors fighting?
May I just come in on one aspect, which the president, who's supposed to be the well-informed president of the United States, and he makes a statement that this is a conflict centuries old? Seriously? Century old, there was no Pakistan.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spot on. There was no Pakistan. But the fact of the matter is, we all know how well informed the President Trump is on history, culture, politics, ethics. But he had a popular mandate.
He's literally corroborated your sarcasm by saying centuries old fight. How trivial and how irresponsible for someone like him to say that.
Absolutely. I don't think it's so much of an irresponsibility as of, uh, I think US is a country so self-absorbed with its own interests. It's really never bothered in depth and detail unless it impacts them in some form or manner. And I think Donald Trump is, in his efforts to sort the Russia problem out, has now backed out totally. So he has to make a comment. He's made a comment, and it just shows. I'll just leave it at that, at the depth of knowledge and awareness.
No, but I will probe you on this. Air Marshal, you did mention how, and I asked you this question just last night about how United States must be carrying out this balancing act because they are selling F-16s.
There's a breaking news that has come in. As I said, artillery has started to boom. Artillery has, yes, Mr. Mishra, I'll come to you. Artillery has started to boom. Injury and death has been reported on LSE. The Press Trust of India is reporting that, I'll not give out the numbers, but death and injury has taken place, Mr. Mishra, on line of control.
On the Indian side.
On the Indian side. So, what does it mean to us when the artillery booms on the line of control?
Yes, Mr. Karthikeyan, I told you earlier also, they have used motors for the last 7 to 10 days, and it was there in Kathua, it was there in this place, Sundarbani also, Nausera also. But yesterday they have used artillery because the use of artillery was noticed in Nausera and also in Kupwara sector. These two sectors, use of artillery, they were noticed, and there were heavy attacks by artillery guns from Pakistan side at these two places, and also at the Tangdhar area, Kupwara area, Tangdhar area, Nausera area. The artillery fire was noticed, and this is the first time artillery guns were used. We never saw it last 10 days. All the 10 days we had this MMGs and mortars, they were being fired. But first time, yesterday night, they have started firing artillery. This shows that they want to escalate the war. They want to escalate. So they want the repatriation. But anyway, we have not yet used artillery from our side. And the retaliation definitely will be heavy on their side. If they do it, we are still using our mortars and all. But if they keep on using artillery, particularly very close to our national highway at Jammu, we have no other option than to open it up, because you see at Sialkot sector, they have both artillery and armored. I told you we have got full information because that area comes under, it is an IB sector. So I have full information that whole artillery and armored, they are there in Sialkot area. So if they use it, they have used it at Nausera, they have used it at Kupwara, they have used it at Kiran sector yesterday night. So if they open it up very close to our national highway, they want to block our national highway coming from Amritsar towards Jammu. They want to close it. So that definitely will be replied, and we are ready for that. In fact, the army has come to the IB also. And I don't want to speak more on this subject.
Okay.
Because
fair enough. Let's not get into it. Yes, fair enough. General Shivane, your sense why LOC has become extremely hot?
Absolutely. See, these operations, why were they delayed by the time frame with a lot of sensibility? Was one, you don't launch operations without a proper intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance network. And therefore, out of the 34 or 36 terror camps, we targeted the priority one. The artillery with post Pahalgam, the line of control was activated. Pakistan said the similar agreement does not exist, so there is nothing known as a ceasefire. We had duels there, fire assaults being conducted across there, which exposed the Pakistanis' arsenal at the places where they responded, and through ISR we knew where they are. And today, this morning, we have targeted 10 of their launch pad with massive artillery strikes. I will not name them, nor will I name the sectors which are activated, but suffice to say, not only the launch pads, but also the places where they can possibly carry out low incursions or show their hands. They have been extremely hard hit, put their head down. Of course, there would be casualty to both sides after the fire. This is something short of war. It is intense escalatory strikes. But then the escalatory levers are well within our hand, and it is to PAK to escalate. And therefore, this time frame was utilized to war game and be prepared for all levels of escalation. That's why this 48 to 72 hours launch did not take place, because today, whatever response come, and some response will come in whatever form, we are more than prepared. Second point I want to highlight is Pakistan has a geographical disadvantage. We can see their length and breadth. Their breadth is restricted. We can hit them with our arsenal well deep, whereas India is blessed by geography. Their arsenal and their hit will therefore be limited. Over to you.
I do want to ask, sir, when maybe General Chopra can give us a little more on the three services that have come together to fight. But we still don't know where the Navy has struck. We don't know if there's been overground operations or on-ground operations, the way there has been aerial strikes. So how do you believe that the three forces have come together with this one aerial strike that we are aware of?
I want to bring out about the RT duels. Firstly, if you look all along the IV and the LC, I've been in Op Prakram for over a year, and all my service along the LC, we have well fortified bunkers for the forward troops, especially the infantry, and the RTU is a little behind. Plus now we have upgraded ourselves in the civil defense scheme. We also have bunkers for the civilians all along the LC and the international border for them to take on the RT duels. Secondly, I want to bring out that our RT ranges are longer than theirs, and we do precision strikes like brought out by General Shivane on their terrorist camps and all the launch pads. And the Pakis use these strikes either to infiltrate their terrorists or to just to fire them. But let me tell you, they have in the entire 1 year and my service in the LC and the IV, there's very, very minimal casualties that take place. And we have been discussing that the Pakis are very low on the ammunition, especially the RT ammunition, because the RT ammunition has been diverted towards Ukraine. So it suits us in case the escalatory matrix goes on. And now coming to your question about the three services, like it was an integrated approach. The Indian Navy has been all along the Arabian Sea carrying out test firing that side, so that to draw the attention and as a deception measure that we can strike anywhere like we did in the 71 war in the Karachi harbor. And we want to draw their attention. It is part of the deception plan. The air has been active all along the borders, especially like today, we'll be carrying out in the Rajasthan sector all along the IV, the air exercise is going on. Plus, what I want to bring out, even in the, we have used the Navy has got very high in the sky, very precision systems, which has been integrated in the plans which have been executed recently yesterday, like brought out by General Shivane again. Most important thing in warfare is the ISR systems. Our ISR systems are very strong, whether it be the satellites or the air recce or the drones. We have exact coordinates of the terrorist camp and the infrastructure. ISR, intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance is very, very important, where the Navy has also played a very, very vital role all along the IV. Therefore, it's during planning and during simultaneous and coordinated attacks all along the front, whether it be LC and the IV, the Navy, the Army, and the Indian Air Force have been in synergy. And this is the first time we have shown that joint operation or India is ready for the joint commands.
Jammu Kashmir LG has ordered evacuation of villagers from the border areas. And it's very clear that the shelling that is taking place is intense.
Yeah.
It's intense shelling that is taking place. And let me just read out the tweet what the J&K governor has tweeted, because it's very, very important. He has basically said, I have directed the DCs, district collectors, for shifting of villagers from vulnerable areas to safer locations, ensuring boarding, lodging, food, Medicare, transportation. We will ensure safety of every citizens. Let me tell you that the press conference, which was scheduled at 10 a.m. has been rescheduled for 10:30 a.m. today. This will be done by the officials of MEA and 3 armed forces. We do not know the hierarchy of the officers, but the statement of China has also come. China has expressed its concern. That's number 2. Number 3, the most important part is that after 10:30 a.m. press conference, there will be a cabinet committee on security which the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take, in which the chief of the armed forces would be present. That's number 3. 4th, the Indian markets have opened unfazed by border escalation. Sensex, Nifty, they have opened flat. Indian market is not affected by it. It has not gone down. It has opened flat. It's a very good development. Unaffected Indian market. So business as usual for us. And lastly, the most important aspect, this attack, this anti-terror operation, I think that's a better word to use rather than attack. This anti-terror operation which the Indian military, Indian armed forces have carried out is not only a demonstration of a resolve, it's also a demonstration of technology that we have acquired. You know, a lot of things would be clear, Nabila, as to how we have done it. Did our planes enter the Pakistani airspace? Did they operate at international border and then targeted them? You know, we'll come to the multiple ways in which Air Force and other military would have operated. Which planes were used? Because, you know, the entire Air Force is in the right now in a very it's getting transformed.
Yeah, Air Marshal Deependu could probably fill us in on this. We hear, sir, that the Indian Air Force largely stayed within Indian air limits or Indian airspace. Is that right? Would you want to tell us a little more of something you may know?
So frankly, I don't know the details, and I'm glad I don't know the details. But what is important is most certainly, you know, look at, as I said, look at the way we have, and I'm glad you mentioned that it's an anti-terror operation. And look at the way we have responded. We will most certainly have stayed well within our territory. We wouldn't have taken, we wouldn't have crossed the escalate ladder in violating the sovereign airspace of Pakistan. Yet we would have carried out attacks. And that is exactly what we want to do. So look at the amount of maturity and restraint. And I said this before, and I'm saying it again now. Look at the target systems that we have engaged and look at what the Pakistani response has been. I mean, they're obviously firing artillery and in areas where it is bound to impact a civilian population. And we have been very picky and choosy and make sure that we keep our, you know, we ensure that we avoid civilian collateral across. And we only chose targets which we know are the hotbeds and the, you know, snake pits of terror. And that is the most important thing we need to bear in mind. And our military is, you know, I mean, when you mentioned about an integrated panelists mentioned that. I would like to underscore this aspect once again, that, you know, over the years, the services have come together. They have tremendous amount of capabilities. Today, the joint approach, the integrated approach that we take in our military operations and in our military training and preparedness, the core competencies of each services are put on the table. And I'm sure the leadership would have picked and chosen the best possible combination required for a certain specific operation. And I'm sure they would have planned this well before and in a very solid manner. That should we go up the escalatory ladder, how the three services core competence.
Breaking news now, I can, sir, there's a breaking news now, I can confirm it. 7 people have died and 38 people have been injured on the line of actual control. Pakistan has actually fired targeted civilian areas, injuring 38 people and killing 7 civilians. General Shivane, has Pakistan crossed the line by doing this again, by targeting civilians, killing them? It's been confirmed now.
Yes, this is a sign of knee-jerk response to a precision targeted terror strike on them. So they have to have some face to show the public. So they fire across, and in a cowardly manner, they have targeted areas where civilians have been targeted. So I am not at all surprised by this. You know, when we go to war, it's a tri-service preparation of going to war as a nation. Not only military, you have seen the other instruments of national power being there. So there is something known as a force posturing which is done, and there is something known as precautionary measures which are taken place, active precautionary measures. I'm not going to go into these details, but suffice to say, today you see all three forces are postured for the levels of escalations. Prior to this morning, aircrafts were flown along the line of control and IB to pick up those places where there were lock-ons and there were radar signatures. Electronic warfare, it's out in the press, electronic warfare means were deployed. And tonight when we went in, these were jammed and targeted. So that when we carried out our strike, why was that there was no Pakistani response in terms of anti-missile measures or counter-UAS measures? Because they were made absolutely incompetent by our integrated approach to war fighting. As regards the artillery fuel, which are fuels which are heating up, yes, they will heating up, but I don't think this is the next level of escalatory ladder. To me, it is a natural reaction to heat up the line of control. And today, given Pakistani's forex reserve, the economy, the more they prolong and the more the intensity that they get into, the weaker they are for their next level of escalation. Whereas we,
Pakistan is of course reacting and doing
thing.
so violently. They are striking civilians along the line of control, and this is the latest news that we have, that 7 civilians on the Indian side have been killed, nearly 40 people have been injured. I have Aditya Raj call with me, who has been tracking very closely developments happening right here between India and Pakistan. Aditya, give us a little more on Pakistan now shelling heavily along the line of control, and this has been so for the last few days, but today exceptionally high after India's missile strike.
That's right. Within an hour of India launching Operation Sindoor, there was artillery gunfire that was started by the Pakistan Army along the line of control between India and Pakistan. A lot of civilians and a lot of villages along the line of control in the Meander sector in Poonch have been, attacked by the Pakistan Army. A lot of houses of common civilians of Jammu and Kashmir have been affected in the Pakistan Army firing. Imagine the first response of Pakistan to Operation Sindoor is to attack civilians yet again in Jammu and Kashmir. Right now, we have confirmation that 7 civilians have unfortunately lost their lives and at least 40 others are injured, some of them critical. So the death toll is likely to increase. Pakistan certainly is frustrated right now due to the impact of the Operation Sindoor, not just in Pakistan but globally. There's condemnation of terrorism that's happening. Most of the global capitals are in sync with the Indian government and supporting India's determination and fight against terrorism. And as of now, at 10:30 a.m., Indian government will be holding a press conference. I expect the tri-service chiefs to be there. If not, then certainly the DGMO will be there to, give us details of what was happening, how it was happening, and also let us know what to expect from the Pakistan Army.
Would you be able to tell us about the evacuation process at this point? Because we know several civilians there caught in this crossfire. Were they not moved out earlier? And now what's the preparation the government is doing, or the army at this point, to ensure no more civilians fall victim to this?
Well, this is a large area, so it's not possible to evacuate everyone, within minutes. But there are bunkers that are situated there. As you know, today is also the day when the mock drills will take place all across the country. I am being told that in some of the districts that are border areas in Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab, it would be paused. The mock drills will not happen because the situation is already volatile. But the mock drills will happen as usual in other parts of the country all through the day. There are multiple locations, at least 50 to 100 locations in Noida itself, where our studios are right now. And in Delhi, again, 60 to 100 locations where these mock drills will be taking place. As I said, in border areas, since the situation is volatile, there will be no mock drills. Apart from that, we know that Srinagar and Amritsar airport have been completely shut. Jammu airport also more or less is shut right now.
Yeah.
All these three airports have been handed over to the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army to take it forward because, overnight there was dogfight, between the jets of Indian Air Force and the Pakistan Air Force. Apart from that, the Pakistan has also announced that surface-to-air missiles were launched by the Pakistani Army. So as of now, it's a volatile situation. We are expecting a retaliation, but how, when, and what would be the nature of the retaliation needs to be seen. Will it remain to the LOC where the artillery gunfire has been opened by Pakistan, or will it continue into, more areas remains to be seen.
No, it is we've been told that the UN field office in Jammu and Kashmir has also been attacked. Would you want to tell us a little more on that?
That's right. First, attack took place on civilians, and thereafter there's the UN field office. As you would know, for last many decades, India and Pakistan have the office of the UN Military Observers Group of India and Pakistan, which is called UNMOGIP, and they have a field office in Poonch. And there was a mortar shell of the Pakistan Army that landed just at the gates of the UN field office. So imagine, even the United Nations and United Nations military officers are not spared in this entire episode where Pakistan is frustrated, desperate to attack India.
Aditya, I think the phone line has been cut. Let us play out a couple of ground reports that we have got. One from Nowshera and another from Poonch. These are the ground reports post-artillery attack that has taken place. But the artillery attack continues across line of control.
तरीके से लोग जो है वो अपनी जान बचाने के लिए इन बंकरों का इस्तेमाल जो है वो करते हैं। अभी भी जो रुक कर फायरिंग है वो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से की जा रही है। आप छोटे बच्चे देख सकते हैं, बुजुर्ग देख सकते हैं, उनके साथ साथ जो यहाँ पर नौजवान हैं उनको देख सकते हैं, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान लगातार सीज फायर का उल्लंघन कर रहा है। पहलगाम आतंकी हमले का बदला भारत ने ले लिया है और पूरी तरीके से पीओके और साथ में पाकिस्तान में आतंकियों के जो लॉन्च पैड्स है, ट्रेनिंग कैंप्स है, उन पर स्ट्राइक की गई है। कुछ गांव वाले भी हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं, उनसे बात करेंगे। कितनी जबरदस्त फायरिंग रही?
सर, रात को लगभग 1:30 बजे के करीब बहुत हैवी शेलिंग हुई यहाँ पे। हमने पूरी रात बंकर में निकाली है।
पूरी रात बंकर में? हाँ,
1:30 बजे हम सुबह तक बंकर में थे। तो अभी भी रुक के फायरिंग हो रही है।
अभी भी हो रही है फायरिंग?
हाँ जी, रुक के हो रही है अभी भी।
डर का माहौल है?
डर का माहौल है सर, खेत में जा नहीं सकते हैं।
इस बात की खुशी है कि भारत ने अपना बदला लिया?
हाँ जी, बहुत खुशी है हमें जो भारत ने अपना बदला लिया है स्थायी बंधु का।
कितने खुश हैं आप लोग इस बात से कि भारत ने अपना बदला ले लिया?
क्योंकि जो ये काम शुरू से हमारे चल रहा है, उसका बदला लिया। अब कुछ शांति हो जाएगी।
लग रहा आपको?
अब कुछ शांति हो जाएगी। जो 9 ठिकाने तबाह
में आग लगी हुई थी, पूरी इंडिया में स्थायी बंदूकों की बदले की आग लगी हुई थी, जो ले लिया। अभी थोड़ी शांति होगी।
लेकिन अब बॉर्डर पे जो पाकिस्तान जो सीज फायर का उल्लंघन कर रहा है, उसको लेकर क्या कहेंगे?
सर, ये तो होता ही रहता है तकरीबन। हमने जब से होश संभाली है, ये तो फायर तो चलता ही रहता है, इतना नहीं है।
उसके लिए आप तैयार हैं?
तैयार है, हमें कोई डरने की कोई बात नहीं।
इसी बंकरों में रहे हैं, आप देख सकते हैं कि पूरी तरीके से यहाँ के जो लोग हैं वो साफ तौर पे भारतीय सेना के साथ खड़े हुए हैं। लगातार पाकिस्तान की तरफ से लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के इलाके में सीज फायर का उल्लंघन किया जा रहा है। भारतीय सेना पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब दे रही है। भारत ने पाकिस्तान पर स्ट्राइक की है। इस ऑपरेशन का नाम ऑपरेशन सिंदूर रखा गया था। 9 जगहों पे भारत ने पाकिस्तान पे स्ट्राइक की है, लेकिन इन सब के बीच रजौरी, नौशेरा, पुंछ, इलाके में लगातार पाकिस्तान की तरफ से सीज फायर का उल्लंघन किया गया है। आर्टिलरी तक पाकिस्तान की तरफ से यूज की गई है और भारतीय सेना ने पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया है। वहीं आपको बता दें कि इस सीज फायर वायलेशन में 3 इनोसेंट नागरिकों की जान भी गई है। इस समय मैं मौजूद हूं नौशेरा इलाके में और यहां पर तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं कि ये लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल का इलाका है। अभी भी रुक रुक कर जो फायरिंग है वो यहाँ पर लगातार हो रही है और लगातार पाकिस्तान की तरफ से जो सीज फायर का उल्लंघन है वो यहाँ पर किया जा रहा है। लेकिन इन सब के बीच भारतीय सेना भी पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब जो है वो यहाँ पर दे रही है। आपको बता दें कि ये वो इलाके हैं जब एक वक्त पाकिस्तान की तरफ से इन इलाकों में सीज फायर का उल्लंघन किया जाता था। हमारे जो नागरिक थे उनके ऊपर जो फायरिंग थी वो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से की जाती थी और भारतीय सेना पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब देती थी। तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं कि ये पूरी जो स्ट्रेच है ये लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल का इलाका है और यहीं पर लगातार पूरी रात भर जो फायरिंग है वो हुई है और अभी भी जो स्मॉल आर्म फायर है वो पाकिस्तान की तरफ से किए जा रहे हैं। भारतीय सेना भी पाकिस्तान को मुंह तोड़ जवाब दे रही है। लेकिन इन सब के बीच पहलगाम में जो आतंकी हमला हुआ था उसका बदला जो है भारत ने ले लिया है। 9 जगहों पे POK के समेत पाकिस्तान की टोटल 9 जगहों पे जो भारत ने स्ट्राइक है वो की है। इस समय मैं मौजूद हूं रजौरी इलाके में। यहां पर पाकिस्तान की तरफ से सीज फायर का उल्लंघन किया गया है और तस्वीरों में आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से रिहायशी इलाकों में पाकिस्तान ने गोले दागे हैं। यहां पर आप देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से भारी नुकसान जो है वो इस इलाके में हुआ है। दरअसल कल भारत ने पाकिस्तान से बदला ले लिया है। बदला है पहलगाम में मारे गए निर्दोष लोगों का। बदला है आतंकवाद जिस तरीके से पाकिस्तान यहां पर फैला रहा था। 9 जगहों पे स्ट्राइक जो है भारत ने की है। वहीं पाकिस्तान बौखला गया। पाकिस्तान की तरफ से लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पर सीज फायर का उल्लंघन किया गया और साथ में आर्टिलरी के जरिए जो है रिहायशी इलाकों में गोले जो है वो दागे गए। तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं कि कितना ज्यादा नुकसान यहाँ पर इन घरों को उठाना पड़ा है। यहाँ पे आज स्प्लिंटर के जो निशान है वो आप चारों तरफ देख सकते हैं। कुछ गांव वाले भी हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं, उनसे बात करेंगे। कितना नुकसान हुआ है साहब यहाँ?
नुकसान बहुत हुआ है क्योंकि पाकिस्तान ने सिविल रिहायशी एरिया को टारगेट किया है और पुंछ जोरी हाईवे को टारगेट किया है क्योंकि फौज से पाकिस्तान लड़ नहीं सकता है। लेकिन आम सिविलियन को ये तंग करता है। जिस तरह आपने देखा होगा कई बार स्कूलों में वो टारगेट करता है, इस तरह सिविल लोगों को और खास करके हमारे पुंछ जोरी हाईवे को बाधित करने की कोशिश की गई है।
सेना के साथ खड़े?
बिल्कुल सेना के साथ खड़े हैं। हम कहते हैं कि सेना को जिस चीज की जरूरत है हम सदा उनके लिए तैयार हैं, खड़े हैं। हमें भी बुलाएं, हमें बॉर्डर पर लेके जाए, हम खुद लड़ेंगे।
तो ये देखिए रिहायशी इलाके में गांव वाले बता रहे हैं कि पूरी तरीके से सेना के साथ खड़े हैं। लेकिन हालात आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से तनावपूर्ण यहाँ पे बने हुए हैं। स्प्लिंटर के निशान साफ तौर पे आप दीवारों पे देख सकते हैं और किस तरीके से तबाही यहाँ पर देखने को मिल रही है। ये साफ तौर पे दिखाता है कि किस तरीके से पाकिस्तान यहाँ पर सीज फायर का उल्लंघन कर रहा है। ना सिर्फ सीज फायर का उल्लंघन कर रहा है बल्कि रिहायशी इलाकों को भी लगातार टारगेट कर रहा है।
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
Mama must be missing us, na?
Let's take you on, man, give me one day. Feel the itch under my skin, it's a one day. You believe it when you see me and done, hey. It doesn't matter, just gotta get going.
New GT line, Tygoon and Virtus.
Volkswagen. What is to the nines? In literal terms, it's perfection. But to us, it's not just a phrase, it's an attitude. One that starts at your desk and sends a statement to the world. To the nines is about taking charge. It's a way of life where every seam, every fold, is crafted with excellence. It's timeless elegance and uncompromising quality made for the corner office. It's the ideas that inspire redefining order and elevating the tabletop. To the nines, for the leaders of today and the visionaries of tomorrow.
is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
So we played you the ground reports that have come from Nowshera and Rajouri. Our correspondent Ankit took us to those places where the artillery firing has taken place. I am continued to be joined by General Rameshwar Yadav, General Chopra, Air Marshal Dipendu Chaudhary, and Dr. PK Mishra continues to be with me. Thank you all of you for holding fort with me. Now the artillery fire has started. Our correspondent was also telling us that the casualties have been reported, people are being shifted. We played out the tweet of the governor of the Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha. He said that we will ensure that these places, the people are shifted to safe places. General Shivana, what I would like to know from you is this: do you think this heavy artillery firing would continue now for in coming days? Because I think the I think whatever the modicum of understanding between both India and Pakistan on LOC was is completely shattered. Has LOC gone hot again, sir? Is it correct to say that?
Yes, I would agree, but it cannot continue, endlessly. So you would see this as a face-saving response from Pakistan for the next 24 to 48 hours as such. But what is important is to understand what is the targeting philosophy. We had a very specific targeting philosophy to target terror. What is their response to this terror targeting philosophy in terms of the targets they choose? I'm afraid they have no really targets. So they would choose lines of control. They would choose areas where we are launching our, fire assaults, and they would choose civilian areas to bring about panic, which they don't understand that the entire nation's resolve is today. Their nation is together, and unfortunately, these loss of lives and injuries, my heartfelt condolences. But then that also shows how the nation is prepared to move ahead and support the nation against this fight of terror. So I think next 24, 48 hours, intensity will go on, and let us see after 48 hours what happens. One thing which we must not forget is, let us also keep observing what is happening on the Durand line, on the Afghanistan front, and on Balochistan. My sense of it is something will keep happening there also.
Something will keep happening there also. General Chopra, your comments on the heavy artillery that is being exchanged on the line of control. Do you think it's going to continue in coming days, sir? And what will be the response? Because we have no confirmation whether we have used artillery or not. But the information that is coming is that in the counter fire, we have neutralized Pakistani soldiers. I'll come out with the details, more specific details once I have them. But that's the news we are getting, that in that Nowshera sector, we have neutralized Pak soldiers.
Firstly, it's an unfortunate incident. Our condolences to the families. But like brought out by General Shivane, it's an all-of-nation approach. And the people are with us. The resolve is very strong against terrorism because they have been suffering, and they are very, very happy that we have Indian Army, the Navy and the Air Forces responding jointly. And secondly, what I want to bring out, all these villages along the LC where the RT duels have been going on, earlier also, the people, villagers, they are battle hardened, as we call in the army parlance, battle inoculated. They are very, very hardened people, and the drills are there and our evacuation plans are there. I'm sure they'll be implemented, which I cannot cover in this. And coming to your question, the RT duels, see, the Pakis have to play that victim card. They have to play to the own gallery, that is the own masses, that they have responded. And secondly, they also have to play the victim card to the international gallery, from where they have been getting all this support. Therefore, they will strike for a few days. I cannot tell the duration, but 3-4 days they're going to strike out, and then the battle fatigue will set in, and then possibly they will scale down the pressure, the intensity. And let me assure you, tit for tat, Indian Army is going to be always on top of this escalatory matrix. We have the control, we have the willpower, and we have professionals handling the entire international border by the three services.
With the LOC going live, does it change the larger matrix in Kashmir? There was an, because this is something which now the counter-insurgency operation and the army will have to factor in terms of the entire LOC going live, because it was not live for 2.5 years. It changes things.
What my take is on, I should have brought it out before that. Firstly, we have taken 13, 14 days. Not that the complacency is there. We have always been active. But since after the Pahalgam strike, we have improved our counter-infiltration posture all along the LC and also on the IV by the BSF and the Indian Army where it is getting deployed. Secondly, in the heartland, we have also thickened our counter-terrorism grid by the CAPS and the Army inside the entire valley and the JNK. Therefore, before we went for the strike, I am very hopeful that the counter-infiltration grid all along the LC and the counter-terrorism grid, which is established in the entire JNK, is going on. Let me also bring out here, if you've been hearing from the past few months or years, the terrorists are not only infiltrating from JNK because our counter-infiltration and terrorism grid is very strong. They are coming through the down south from Jammu, not from Poonch Rajouri, but from the Punjab sector also through tunneling, and we are taking operations from there also. Therefore, we have also improved our counter-infiltration and counter-terrorism grid there also.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Nabila, now the picture is becoming clearer. The artillery has boomed, artillery fire is taking place in LOC. We had ground reports from Rajouri, we had ground reports from Naushera sector. The press conference is going to take place at 10:30. There are a lot of unconfirmed reports. I'm not even going to talk about that on TV, till MOD speaks about them, because there are claims and counter-claims being made and reported by from Pakistan in Guardian and Whitey. So I'm not going to talk about that. But the fact of the matter is, that this strike has demonstrated India's resolve that any terror attack would be answered.
Correct.
So whatever the cost, we will make you pay for it.
Right.
It will be very high for you. Those photographs have started to stream in of the casualties and and the precise places and the people who are dead. We'll give you the list of those terrorists whose names have come. We'll give you the list. Yes, Nabila.
Pakistan has gone bonkers. They're crazy firing along the line of control, almost as if they have no other weapon, no other way of responding to India. So kill civilians. That's that they know is the only place that would hurt. And that's what they're doing, mindlessly firing along the line of control and aggressively so. Isn't there any other method that they would adopt? Are we looking forward to something even bigger? Air Marshal Deeptendu, would you want to comment on that?
Yes, certainly. I think it was brought out very well by some panelists before that they have no choice because they don't have targets. We don't have terror hideouts in our side of our country, and precisely so they are bereft of targets. We have hit them where it hurts them. They are in a extreme pressure to respond. This artillery attack, scaling up the artillery attack, and at the end of the day, look at what they're ending up targeting, civilians. So at the end of the day, the intensity of the artillery attacks, and there are specialists here who would probably back me on this, that it can only remain for limited periods. There are a lot of other factors that come in, and most certainly the resilience and the depth of their ammunition stocks and things like that. So this is not something which will continue in a continued scale for a long time. It will probably wax and wane. But the important thing is the one aspect which could have been used by the for Pakistan to respond is the PAF and carrying out standoff targeting on our side. But like I said, there are no targets, worthwhile terror targets, or which they can engage in a time like this. And another fact I would like to flag here is something which doesn't come out too often. is that, before all this started, the most certainly the Indian Air Force's air defense would have gone on high alert, because we have a responsibility. The Air Force has a responsibility for air defense of sovereign airspaces. So all our radars would have been churning. Our, platforms which were mentioned as exercises are something we do in a peacetime. And the only thing is the activity and the levels would have been heightened. And that would have most certainly have, at a point, up to a point, kept the PAF and reduced PAF's options. And this is something which will probably continue. Air defense alert will remain throughout. And the fact is now, at the end of the day, like it was mentioned earlier, and I would say this once again, the ball is in their court. It's a question of how far do they want to go. And we are ready by all indications and actions. And I think we have worked our way through down the escalatory ladder, and we are prepared at every level. Thank you.
Now that we see Pakistan has been responded to by India, there's certainly going to be some kind of international support that they will try and lap up. And we're trying to get a reaction. We heard that China has just responded. In fact, China has broken silence on the matter. And as I will bring you that information, we hear, there you have it. It's on our screens there. China breaking its silence on India's airstrikes, calls the attacks by India on Pakistan as regrettable, and urges both India and Pakistan to show restraint, while reaffirming its stance against terrorism. In fact, we see clearly here Pakistan falling short of taking sides, trying to give a balanced approach while condemning this, saying that both India and Pakistan are permanent neighbors to us. What has happened is regrettable. And also a cautious statement there saying that this should be brought under control, terror should be nipped in the bud, but it should be done calm and collectively. In as many words, Pakistan has put out a statement breaking its silence on India's strike on Pakistan. If I could bring General Shivane on this. General, Pakistan and China are allies, in fact, much better friends than India and China is. So one would have expected China to take a whole stand in support of Pakistan, but they've fallen short of that, or they've stopped short of that rather. They've now given a very balanced statement saying both countries should sort this out because both of you are my permanent neighbors. So please be calm and discuss this and end this animosity. China being the bigger brother.
The global community, including China, who has got focused elsewhere, realizes that Pakistan has got no moral authority. It is a nation which is actually a terrorist town, and their targeting of civilians as a face-saving response has further strengthened their image in the world of their nation and its cowardly acts in desperation, what it does. So if this is what Pakistan is coming of a global image, I'm sure even China, a strategic friend, a supporter, and an adversary to us, whom we don't have the best of relations, and in fact, not very good relations, is today showing restraint because they do not have any material to say that India's strikes, which are out of the hat, is something which is not justified. So all that they can say is please bring calm, because they don't want Pakistan to get hammered even more, and they know what is the resilience of that nation. They know the state within there, and they dare not give it the sort of active support in such a condition where the globe and the global community is looking at Pakistan from a lens of a state which is a rogue state and which is funding and abetting terror. Thank you.
Right. I also have Major General Jagatbir Singh joining me right here. General, thanks very much for sparing your time here on News 9. We're looking at a key LET operative who's said to have been eliminated. LET's Hafiz Abdul has been eliminated by our armed forces through their surgical strike. Hafiz Abdul Malik, who's been killed in precision strike. This is precisely what the army was targeting, and our forces have managed to establish the identity of one of them. LET is Hafiz Abdul Malik, the entity that could be very well behind the Pahalgam attacks. India has gone right into the heart of those terror bases and has struck. So here it's established that LET member Hafiz has been killed. Give us a little more on these precision strikes that India has carried out, and what statement does it send out?
Well, we're all awaiting the Army's, the Tri-Services press conference at 10:30, in which more details of the precision strike will be given. But all I'd like to say at this point, and that the strikes that were carried out last night or early the hours of this morning at 1:45 in the morning, were strikes which demonstrated our Tri-Services capability, resolve, and the professionalism of our armed forces. But apart from the strikes and the manner in which they were carried out, without targeting any military targets or going for hitting any civilian infrastructure, also before the strikes were carried out, we would have gathered a lot of intelligence on the presence of the terrorists, the location of the camps, and the manner in where these camps were and how the terrorists were operating from these strikes. And hence we targeted them. So, it's that. And now further, we are preparing that how to, prevent any violation of our own sovereignty, be it the air or land, by the Pakistanis in response to our strike. So, that is also, all that would have been put in place. So it's something remarkable that has been carried out. The three services have worked in great coordination with great precision and carried out this strike to show their capability. And it is the statements like General Shivane rightly said, coming out from China, are now China, being a true friend of Pakistan, one of its closest allies, has shown restraint, which is something that, even they realize that Pakistan has been, is known for being the global epicenter of terrorism and has been, literally breeding terrorists on its soil.
Well, here we're looking at Pakistan continues to respond through LOC firing and aggressive firing as they're trying to target civilians. It seems aggressive and misplaced. It almost looks like they do not know what to do, and therefore they're reacting in this manner.
Actually, this point was very, very well made. Pakistan does not have any target inside India because we don't have any terror infrastructure. Yeah. So what have they done? They have done what is expected of them. You open fire all along the LOC. So what will happen? You will disturb the civilians, one. Next thing that is going to happen is that people is going to die. You can go back and tell your country that, we have avenged. Third thing, they understand that they cannot cross the LOC like that. You can't just shift LOC like that. There's a heavy deployment of soldiers there. They understand that. They were evicted from Kargil. Number fourth, the only thing which they have is artillery, because you can fire it from your territory. Yeah. There is a distance there. So artillery firing can take place. Third, they already know hot action has already taken place. So they have not escalated, which means if the escalation would have taken place within 2 to 3 to 4 hours. Now, if they escalate, for example, if they try to do a deep strike, if they use the Air Force, then the Pakistan...
That's the new information that's coming. Karthikeya, 10 people have been killed, 10 civilians killed in heavy shelling and firing along the line of control. 38 people have been injured. Heavy artillery exchange at the LOC even as we speak. It's tragic. Civilians caught in the crossfire there. As much as we know, most of them have been moved out, evacuated to safer zones. There are bunkers there. It's still a very large area that one can't avoid. In fact, it is inhabited, and we see that 10 of them have been killed who got caught in this crossfire. It's been happening overnight, ever since the war struck, and I will call this war. 1:44 a.m. precisely when India struck Pakistan through multiple missiles. Since then to now, we've heard of heavy shelling and firing along the line of control. India has been responding in measure, but sadly 10 civilians on the Indian soil have died.
These are the live photographs that are coming.
Yeah.
These are the live photographs that are coming. Let's play them full screen. This is the extent of the destruction. Heavy weapons, mortar and artillery was used by the Pakistani forces. If you look at the wall, everything has been destroyed. The houses have been hit. People have been evacuated. Governor Sinha tweeted about it. There was a counter response by India. We've hit back at the Pakistani soldiers. But these are the villages on LOC, line of control. And this is how the precarious life can be. This is how hard the fight was. You know, the cattle, everything. I mean to say, just you look at the scale of these destructions. Can we put these visuals on the wall? So, you know, we'll put these visuals on the wall.
That's the man, by the way, LET member Hafiz Abdul, who's been killed in this precision strike. And his identity has been established, and this is great achievement and success for India, as it was looking very clearly to target terrorists and those handlers, people linked to the LET, and one man has been put down, and that's the one that you see on our screens here, Hafiz Abdul Malik, who's been killed in precision strike linked with the LET. Let me take you through our reporter on the ground along the border area. We're currently along the line of control where heavy shelling and firing is on that has killed 10 people. Our reporter at a little distance bringing you this ground report.
भारत की तरफ से पाकिस्तान के आतंकी कैंप्स पर एक बड़ी कार्रवाई की गई है। इस एयर स्ट्राइक के बाद अटारी बॉर्डर पर काफ़ी लोग पहुंचे हैं जो कि काफ़ी खुश दिखाई दे रहे हैं और अपनी भारतीय सेना को, भारत सरकार को शुक्रिया अदा कर रहे हैं। हमारे साथ ये कुछ लोग आपको दिखाई दे रहे हैं जिनके पास झंडे भी हैं। ये इस वक्त अमृतसर में अटारी बॉर्डर पर पहुंचे हैं। आप क्या कहेंगे इस एयर स्ट्राइक को लेकर?
अब हवाएं करेंगी रोशनी का फैसला, जिस दिए में दम होगा वो शम्मा बरसाएगा। इस फैसले का हम बड़ा स्वागत करते हैं, बहुत खुश हैं। भारत के नागरिक इस फैसले जो स्ट्राइक किया गया, जो ये आतंकी वहाँ पे जो इसको आज तक आश्रय दिया जा रहा था, जिनके इतने हौसले बुलंद थे कि हिंदुस्तान की धरती में आएंगे, वो कुछ भी करेंगे। यहाँ पे 26 नागरिकों का जो कत्ल किया गया, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर, जिसका नाम ही स्पेसिफिकली इसीलिए रखा गया है कि जिन लोगों की, जिन लड़कियों की मांग को उजाड़ा गया, उसके एवज वहाँ पे जो 9 जगहों पर स्ट्राइक किया गया है, उसमें हालांकि पाकिस्तान देख के काफ़ी बड़े बड़े क्लेम है कि वहाँ के सिविलियन को मारा गया, ये मारा गया है। पाकिस्तान से जिनके पास आज 4 दिन में लड़ने की उनकी क्षमता नहीं है, उनके पास 155 mm के गोले और 122 mm के गोले जो ऑलरेडी यूक्रेन को बेच चुके हैं, उनकी अपनी आर्थिक समस्याएं बहुत सारी, उनके पास गोले बनाने के लिए पैसे नहीं है, तो वो आज हिंदुस्तान के साथ लड़ाई की बजाय अपने इन मुजाहिदीनों के ऊपर कंसंट्रेट करें और वहाँ पे लोगों की, उनकी अपनी इकोनॉमी के लिए शायद वो कदम उठाएं तो ज़्यादा बेहतर होगा।
अच्छा, आपको जब पता लगा कि भारत ने इस तरह से पाकिस्तान में आतंकी कैंप्स के ऊपर एयर स्ट्राइक की है तो पहला रिएक्शन क्या था, आपको कैसा लगा?
देखो, हमें खुशी हुई है। करोड़ों भारत जो वासी हैं उनकी लंबे समय से मांग थी कि पाकिस्तानी जो आतंकवाद की फैक्ट्री मानी जाती है उस पर अटैक करे, उसको मिट्टी में मिलाया जाए, क्योंकि बार बार ये नापाक हरकतों से बाज नहीं आता। पाकिस्तानी को मैं एक बात बता देना चाहता हूँ, जब 1971 का जंग हुआ था तो हमारे फौजी भाइयों ने, हमारी आर्मी ने 15,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर का एरिया जो पाकिस्तान से जीत के 1972 में इनको फिर वापस कर दिया था। इनको इनके पे तरस खाया और वापस कर दिया। उसके बावजूद भी इनको ये मतलब कि पुरानी हरकतों से बाज आना चाहिए। उनको ये भी पता होना चाहिए कि भारत का बहुत विशाल दिल है, बड़ा दिल है। बड़े भाई होने के नाते कई बार इनको पाकिस्तानियों को मौका दिया, मगर ये बार बार ये जो नापाक हरकतें थे उनसे बाज नहीं आए और भारत ने मुंह तोड़वा जवाब दिया। अच्छी बात है,
बड़ी शान से आपने तिरंगा लगा रखा है।
मैं ये भी आपके माध्यम से भारत सरकार को ये विनती करना चाहता हूँ, अगर भारत सरकार को या हमारी भारतीय आर्मी को हमारी जरूरत पड़े, हम इसी तिरंगे के साथ शान से पाकिस्तान की जमीन पे जाएंगे और कब्जा करेंगे। और जो लंबे समय से सिखों की तरफ से एक अरदास भी हो रही है कि जो पाकिस्तान में हमारे गुरताम हैं उनकी सेवा का, हमें सेवा संभाल का मौका मिले। मैं मांग करता हूँ कि वो सारा पाकिस्तान का एरिया जीत के जहां सिखों के गुरदाम है वो सिखों की झोली में डाले जाएं, उन्हीं दामों की सेवा सिखों को दोबारा करने का एक सेवा करने का मौका मिले और पाकिस्तानियों को ऐसी धूल चटा दें कि इनको नानी याद करा दे, इनकी आने वाली पुश्तें भी याद रखे कि भारत ने इस बार जो स्ट्राइक की है उससे मतलब कि इनकी सारी सोचें खत्म कर दी हैं पाकिस्तान।
तो हौसले बुलंद हैं। कुछ स्थानीय नागरिक हैं जो कि अटारी बॉर्डर पे ही रहते हैं। आप लोगों को पता लगा कि एयर स्ट्राइक कर दी है और तो इसको आप लोग क्या वेलकम करते हैं, आप कैसे देखते हैं?
सर जी वेलकम तो बढ़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि जिस दिन से पहलगाम का हमला हुआ है उस दिन से लेके आज 10-12 दिन हो गए। 10-12 दिन के बाद पाकिस्तान सोच के बैठा था कि ये ऐसे ही काम चलता रहेगा, लेकिन जो मोदी सरकार ने ये झटका दिया है ये बहुत बढ़िया दिया है मोदी सरकार ने।
So people actually expected the government to conduct a strike inside Pakistan because there was so much of anger after the Pahalgam terror strike. And I would say that politically it would have been unaffordable that if we had not done it. Yes, the primary responsibility of the government was that it should not be done at the spur of a moment, you know. The military should get a free hand and military should be able to decide the timing, the location, area, the operational freedom for any action. So finally it has happened. 10:30, another 15 minutes from now, the press conference will take place. The press conference will be done both by the Defence Ministry officials and if I am not wrong, it will also be, the EMEA officials will co-attend it. Right now, Chief of Defence Staff is briefing Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Then there will be a formal briefing of the Prime Minister by Defence Minister, followed by this press conference. And once this press conference is over, Nabila, we will have a CCS, Cabinet Committee on Security. We might have some sort of a photo op on this.
And those are the images on our screen.
Oh yes, actually these are the images. You know, everyone is inside there. I still remember when the first time when a sort of a press conference took place when we operated on the Myanmar border. I still remember it was years ago, and then subsequent press conference after Uri. And I never expected that the government would openly say that. So well, yes, there are a lot of propaganda material on social media. Nabila, we are not putting them on air. A couple of them have been deleted, which were posted by the Indian official press. They have been deleted. They have been deleted.
Fake news, false
insane amount of fake, insane amount of, you're absolutely right, insane amount of fake news is there. And most of all, not only fake news, the fake news is intended to demoralize and to hurt India's public opinion.
And also to show them mightier. Pakistan is indulging in propaganda to show that they are mightier.
So it's not about the truth, it's about impacting the public opinion. Impacting the public opinion. It's like a sort of a counter cyber, Nabila. So, I'm again and again saying this on TV that we will not put them out. But yes, in this artillery fire, a lot of casualty has taken place. And that's
I do want to bring in Captain Akhilesh Saxena, Kargil War veteran and defence expert. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I do want to ask you, post abrogation of Article 370 and now an elected government that's come into play, do you think this full Kashmir, bustling Kashmir, successful Kashmir, economic boom has really irked Pakistan and those terror outfits to such an extent for them to have carried out this attack?
Exactly.
Would you, or as naysayers would say, people who've been critical of the Modi government would say, this has happened because of abrogation of Article 370?
Yeah. No, so if you really see in last 4 years, the picture of Kashmir has changed a lot. Like there are new industries coming, the economy was started booming, and then Kashmiri people have also realized that there is nothing in the terror, right? They have got the option to have a much better future. There was education. They were not only dependent on the propaganda which was given by the Pakistan. So Kashmir was changing, and that was not acceptable to Pakistan, and that was also not acceptable to few other nations like China, who are worried about the growth rate of India. So if you finally see, it's all about money also, right? So right now, India is on the fastest growth economy. So many of these countries, they were worried that, how do we divert the attention of India? To do this, Pakistan is the right nation because it's a rogue nation, it's a failed nation, and their weapon is terror. They do not have the courage to fight with Indian army. They have tried it many times. They have put the conspiracy during the Kargil war. Despite taking all the advantage, Indian army hit them hard, and they were, thrown back from the Kargil and Dras, all the regions at all. So they knew they can only do this by doing a conspiracy, kill the innocent citizen. But remember, this is a new India. This is a new India which is resilient, which is strong and confident. And we are not only going for Aman ki Asha. Yes, we want peace, but not at the cost of killing our own citizen. So we have given a very clear message that if you will hit us once, we will hit you twice, thrice, and we will not leave you. If you hit one of our innocent citizens, we will take the revenge by hitting your the network of terror. And that's what India has done. They have done a precise strike without even crossing, LOC, and also damaging the infrastructure of Pakistan army and all, because our message is very clear to international community. We are against terror, and entire world is going, fighting against this terror. So please come together. That's why you say all the international media have, welcomed the step taken by India. And it's a great work. It's a master stroke by Indian Armed Forces and the leadership who has put it together. Because otherwise, it's not an easy thing. I was seeing there was a lot of pressure. Why we are not making a strike? What are we waiting for? What is the Rafale for?
Point.
Not easy. It needs a lot of strategy planning to make a strike like this successful. And India has done it and, made a mark in the world.
General Singh, am I audible to you, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, my Pakistani state is Pakistani army, sir. We have been able to lever a cost on Pakistani army, but we have not been able to change the behavior of the Pakistani army as an institution against India, sir. I mean to say, Uri and Balakot was a perfect strike. We told them that, we have done away with this strategic restraint. India will not show restraint when we are being hit. What more needs to be done to change the nature of the Pakistani army? Because unless until that nature is changed, the nature of the Pakistan state, sir, will never change. And they will continue to do this. Maybe 5 years down the line, 6 years down the line, they would repeat something like this in some other part of our country.
Yeah, so, there's a saying that goes that all countries have an army, but Pakistan army has a country. So, that's something that you should remember and you should keep. Now, whatever happens, whichever manner takes place, the Pakistan army is obsessed with India, and within India, Pakistan army remains obsessed with Jammu and Kashmir. There's no doubt about that in anybody's mind. The other thing is that Pakistan knows that it cannot fight and win a conventional war with India, which has been demonstrated to it time and time again. So you fought 4 wars with India, they fought 4 wars with India, 47, 48, 65, 71, and again in 1999. And each time they have suffered. So, and 71, they suffered immense casualties, and they, had 93,000 prisoners of war. So, in spite of that, what did they do? After that, their focus changed. So, what they decided was that Prime Minister Bhutto at that time said, I will eat grass, but we will develop a nuclear weapon. And President Zia, who took over soon after, said, we will bleed India with 1,000 cuts. So this is something that, we are in the services well aware of. These are not easy things to change a person's, impose your will on another person, another army easily. So these are all protracted, long drawn out conflicts which India is faced with. Apart from Pahalgam that took place now, you've had Pulwama, you had Uri, you had the parliament attack, you had the Mumbai thing. And each time we have taken certain action. Now the action we took post Uri the depth was very shallow and it was conducted by ground forces. The action we took place post Pulwama was at Balakot, just conducted by the Air Force. Now what we have demonstrated is our tri-services capability. And that is something that has come through. The coordination, the manner in which these attacks...
Sir, I just need to stop you. Sir, I need to just very, very important. Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh will do the press briefing with Vikram Misri. So it's very, very symbolic. Let me say it again. Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh. they are going to do the press conference with Vikram Misri. Isn't that truly great?
Yeah. And on Operation Sindoor.
Huh? On Operation Sindoor, I mean to say, you have women doing press conference, armed forces. I mean to say, now army and other branches of our military, women are pretty much active personnel there.
Yeah. No, and more importantly, symbolic here, considering this
It's
is
not an
called
army of 1920s or 1930s. Indian army has changed over a period of time. It's so welcome. It's such a powerful symbolism.
Surely, and very symbolic, considering the terrorists killed men. They separated the women, wives from their husbands, mothers from their sons, sisters from their brothers, and killed men alone. So, two women now addressing a press conference
Wing Commander
on how they've
Vyomika
avenged the death of those 26 innocents is hugely symbolic and a very powerful message from India.
Absolutely, very, very powerful message. Janul Singh, you can complete your argument, and very quickly then, we'll again dip into the press conference.
That is symbolic. Two women giving the press conference, sending a message clearly across. So I'm saying we have engaged Pakistan in various means. And today you've seen that you've engaged it in yet another mean where the three services have got together and carried out precise targeting on Pakistan. And these targets would not have been possible without the intelligence that was made available, and which I talked about earlier. And at the same time, you have taken measures to defend yourself against any counter reaction from Pakistan.
Countermeasure from Pakistan. General Shivani, Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh, Lieutenant Colonel Sophia Qureshi of the Corps of the Signals has created history by achieving the rare distinction of becoming the first woman officer to lead a training contingent of the Indian Army at Force 18, the ongoing ASEAN plus multinational field training exercise. I mean to say, I can just go on and on. We all want to know what the Indian forces, our men in olives have done, men and women in olives have done, because but right now the larger issue is, do you think it's going to get contained in next 78 to 90 hours, or do you think that it can continue at a lower intensity over a longer period of time at various locations, the altercation that is taking place, sir?
So to understand the escalatory ladder,
yes,
and to understand the duration to which this would last, we need to understand what are the dilemmas of Pakistan today. Firstly, they don't have a target. Secondly, we have not crossed the LC or the IB. So will it be their onus to carry out trans-LC, trans-IB operation? I don't think they have the courage and the wherewithal. Three, do they have the war effort for a conventional war today, given the state in which they are? Certainly, economics and the war effort are correlated to each other, which lacks in Pakistan today. Fourthly, is any nation globally going to give or boost up their war effort at this time when their image has been exposed? So I think Pakistan is in a big dilemma what to do, and therefore they're in a panic to do something to show to their nation and to the people that we are responding. And how have they responded? In a very unprofessional, haphazard manner, which has actually hit them even more. So as I see this thing going, I don't think in this war on terror, the escalatory ladder is in favor of Pakistan, whereas today we as a nation, morally, physically, and in terms of war effort, war endurance, are capable of the entire spectrum of escalation. Having said that, we will not bite the Pakistani nuclear saber rattling of tactical nuclear weapons, which they will showcase, because we don't differentiate between a tactical and a strategic nuclear weapon. A nuclear weapon is a nuclear weapon, and any no first use is also conditional. Any posturing or a threat of use will be taken that our NFU is violated, and therefore we will take suitable action. So let's not call their nuclear bluff also. I'm afraid Pakistan is on a very, very slippery wicket, and a wicket where internationally they have been shown their place as a nation, as a failed state, and a nation which abets and assists terror globally.
Okay, Captain Saxena, please stay with us, General. Captain Saxena, my question to you is that, we make them pay the price. But again, I come back to the moot issue, the behavior does not change. Do you think that the behavior will change with other non-kinetic, options, pushed on Pakistan throughout the year, like closing of the Baghliyar, closing of other dams, by creating this pressure, they should be back to the FATF grey list or maybe the blacklist. Why grey list? They should be blacklisted. The behavior does not change.
Yeah, and this will not change till the time we change our stance, because we have tried everything, starting from Lahore bus service, which our Prime Minister that time, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, did just before the Kargil, and you see what they have done during Kargil, right? After that, there were many strikes. They have done Balakot. We have to do that, but despite that, their behavior had not changed. So there was a need to take a multi-dimensional approach, and I think some of these dimensions. One kinetic part we are seeing today, but on the diplomatic front, on the Indus Water Treaty is a game changer, because Pakistan is already having the shortage of water. We know we will not be able to stop all the water, but that's not required. Even if we are able to divert or stop 10% of the water, and do not give them the predictability when the water will be stopped and when it will be, sent into the reservoir, that will create a chaos into the Pakistan. And they knew this. That's why they want to come to the negotiating table. And this, all the nuclear thing they are saying, they are not for us. Actually, they are asking the international community to come and mediate, because they want the step taken by India are now going to hurt, not only in terms of military steps, but hurt where it, hurt most, in their stomach. Pakistan is a nation which is a food deficient nation. Now we have stopped total import, which was even going through Dubai and other nations. You are going to see the inflation is going to be skyrocket. If they come even into the grey list, they are already into a very, very weak wicket. They are on a thin ice in terms of their financial management. They hardly have got foreign reserves of $9 billion compared to Indian foreign reserves of $682 billion. So they cannot have their deployment of army more than 15 days. That's their maximum limit. So in my view, this is only one part of the thing. Overall, these strikes, but the
our
other
research said 4 days.
Continue.
Our research said 4 days. At max, they will survive 4 days of intense war, not even 14. And now they've increased their defense spends by 18%. Almost look like a move out of panic. They've sold off a lot of their artillery earlier to Ukraine at that point for money, and now they're left scrambling. Would you be able to tell us, we've tried to probe our panelists a little earlier as well in the hours that that went by, on what kind of firepower does Pakistan have, and do we outdo them? We know we do, but how far beyond is India's firepower in compared to Pakistan?
In terms of firepower, we are definitely much stronger than them. Not only in terms of number. If I just give you the number of howitzers, you are seeing a lot of firing happening. So Pakistan has got 2,600 large artillery guns and howitzer, where India has got 4,200 guns. And the precision and the power and destroying power is much higher than compared to that. Similar is the ratio for our aircraft. But the more important thing is what condition aircrafts are. We have got 4.5 generation aircraft, which is Rafale and some of the top generation aircraft. Whereas Pakistan is not even able to look after their maintenance of their aircraft. They do not have the artillery shelling. They may still have got half the number of guns than us, but their war reserve has already been depleted, because finally war is all about money. They were not having money to eat. That's why they have to sell some of their equipments and their artillery shells to Ukraine. So they do not have firepower to fight with us. That's very clear. That's why you see they are posturing about the nuclear. Everyone talk about, they never talk about the conventional war. Everyone talk about, starting from, army chief to their politician, that we are nuclear power. So, but India is not much bothered because they know that it's just a threat. Because even if Pakistan start that posturing,
Yeah.
Pakistan is going to be wiped out from the map of globe. So they will not do that, and international community will not allow to do that. So in terms of the firepower, Pakistan does not have. And there are two things. One is your artillery and equipment. Second is, how do you go for your country? See, in Kargil, everything was against us. The chances of Pakistan winning was nearly 95% because they were sitting on top. And in mountain warfare, anyone on top is like 100 times powerful. But still, Indian armed forces achieved an impossible victory. So it's about how, motivated your Jawan, your officers are there, who always lead from the front. Pakistan officers are like royal officers, right? They are more into trade business rather than fighting. So they just say, ask their Jawan to do that. But we have got the tales of bravery starting from Vikram Batra to Vijan Thapar and everyone. We all led from the front, and that's why Indian Army is one of the most capable army in terms of their valor, in terms of their skill, in terms of their courage. So there is no way Pakistan can even stay for a few days in front of India.
Absolutely, that goes beyond any doubt. But General Singh, there is an additional issue here. The additional issue is of the longer strategy, sir. Kinetic response, India has demonstrated it. India has demonstrated kinetic response previously also. Non-kinetic response, sir, they have been announced by the government of India in terms of posts, in terms of water, in terms of trade, sir, in terms of visa, border movement, consulate, everything. We have done that. I mean, say, do you think that by keeping up this pressure, some tangible movement will take place, or do you think that some other solutions are required? Indian realism, like Jaishankar said, Russian realism, American realism, there was an Indian realism of 1971 war. Do you think and I'm not saying that word, or there is another Indian realism should come into play?
No, the realism of 71 war you saw was the separation of, East Pakistan, which came into Bangladesh. And that was a major step taken. So now what are the steps you're, trying to say? The step which everybody is talking about is that there are a lot of fault lines within Pakistan. So are you, Pakistan is blaming, some of the fault lines on India, which is not true. They have a problem in Baluchistan. So that is very well known. They have a problem in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So I mean, those problems
Vikram Misri has arrived, sir.
So apart from this, you also need
to
do
Vikram Misri has arrived.
Pakistan on the international stage. So
sir,
that's something that we have
I just need to interrupt you. Vikram Misri has arrived, sir. Let's cut the press conference full screen. Press conference is about to begin any time now. Vikram Misri, India's Foreign Secretary, with two officers from India's armed forces.
Hugely symbolic. Sophia Qureshi and Vaidya. Both of them who's Vyomika, beg your pardon, Vyomika and Sophia. Along with Vikram Misri, who is just about to speak.
नमस्कार। इस ब्रीफिंग में शामिल होने के लिए आप सभी का धन्यवाद। जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं, 22 अप्रैल 2025 को लश्कर तैयबा से संबंधित पाकिस्तानी और पाकिस्तान प्रशिक्षित आतंकवादियों ने भारत में जम्मू और कश्मीर के पहलगाम में भारतीय पर्यटकों पर बर्बरतापूर्ण हमला किया। 25 भारतीयों और एक नेपाली नागरिक को कायरतापूर्ण मौत के घाट उतार दिया गया। मुंबई के 26 नवंबर 2008 के हमलों के बाद यह भारत में हुई किसी आतंकवादी हमले में मारे गए आम नागरिकों की संख्या की दृष्टि से सबसे गंभीर घटना है। पहलगाम का हमला अत्यधिक बर्बरतापूर्ण था, जिसमें वहां मौजूद लोगों को करीब से और उनके परिवारों के सामने सिर पर गोली मारी गई। हत्या के इस तरीके से परिवार के सदस्यों को जानबूझकर आघात पहुंचाया गया। साथ ही उन्हें यह नसीहत भी दी गई कि वे वापस जाकर इस संदेश को पहुंचा दें। यह हमला स्पष्ट रूप से जम्मू और कश्मीर में बहाल हो रही सामान्य स्थिति को बाधित करने के उद्देश्य से किया गया था। चूंकि पर्यटन फिर से अर्थव्यवस्था का मुख्य आधार बन रहा था, इस हमले का मुख्य उद्देश्य इसे प्रतिकूल रूप से प्रभावित करना था। पिछले वर्ष आप सभी जानते हैं 2.25 करोड़ से अधिक पर्यटक कश्मीर आए थे। इस हमले का मुख्य उद्देश्य इसलिए संभवतः यह था कि इस संघ राज्य क्षेत्र में विकास और प्रगति को नुकसान पहुंचाकर इसे पिछड़ा बनाए रखा जाए और पाकिस्तान से लगातार होने वाले सीमा पार आतंकवाद के लिए उपजाऊ जमीन बनाने में सहायता की जाए। हमले का यह तरीका जम्मू और कश्मीर और राष्ट्र दोनों के उद्देश्य से भी प्रेरित था। इसका श्रेय सरकार और भारत के सभी नागरिकों को दिया जाना चाहिए कि इन प्रयासों को विफल कर दिया गया। एक समूह ने खुद को रेजिस्टेंस फ्रंट TRF कहते हुए इस हमले की जिम्मेदारी ली है। यह समूह संयुक्त राष्ट्र द्वारा प्रतिबंधित पाकिस्तानी आतंकवादी समूह लश्कर तैयबा से जुड़ा हुआ है। यह उल्लेखनीय है कि भारत ने मई और नवंबर 2024 में संयुक्त राष्ट्र की 1267 कमेटी की सैंक्शंस मॉनिटरिंग टीम को अर्धवार्षिक रिपोर्ट प्रस्तुत की थी, जिसमें TRF के बारे में साफ इनपुट दिए गए थे। इससे पाकिस्तान स्थित आतंकवादी समूहों के लिए कवर के रूप में TRF की भूमिका सामने आई थी। इससे पहले भी दिसंबर 2023 में भारत ने इस टीम को लश्कर तैयबा और जैश-ए मोहम्मद के बारे में सूचित किया था, जो TRF जैसे छोटे आतंकवादी समूहों के माध्यम से अपनी गतिविधियों को संचालित कर रहे हैं। इस संबंध में 25 अप्रैल को UN सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल प्रेस वक्तव्य में TRF के संदर्भ को हटाने के लिए पाकिस्तान के दबाव पर भी ध्यान दिया जाना चाहिए। पहलगाम आतंकवादी हमले की जांच से पाकिस्तान के साथ आतंकवादियों के संपर्क उजागर हुए हैं। रेजिस्टेंस फ्रंट द्वारा किए गए दावे और लश्कर तैयबा से ज्ञात सोशल मीडिया हैंडल द्वारा इसको रीपोस्ट किया जाना इसकी पुष्टि करता है। चश्मदीद गवाहों और विभिन्न जांच एजेंसियों को उपलब्ध अन्य सूचनाओं के आधार पर हमलावरों की पहचान भी हुई है। हमारी इंटेलिजेंस ने इस टीम के योजनाकारों और उनके समर्थकों की जानकारी जुटाई है। इस हमले की रूपरेखा भारत में सीमा पार आतंकवाद को अंजाम देने के पाकिस्तान के लंबे ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड से भी जुड़ी हुई हैं, जिसके लिखित और स्पष्ट दस्तावेज उपलब्ध हैं। पाकिस्तान दुनिया भर में आतंकवादियों के लिए एक शरण स्थल के रूप में पहचान बना चुका है। यहां अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर प्रतिबंधित आतंकवादी सजा पाने से बचे रहते हैं। इसके अलावा पाकिस्तान ने इस मुद्दे पर विश्व और फाइनेंशियल एक्शन टास्क फोर्स जैसे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंचों को जानबूझकर गुमराह करने के लिए भी जाना जाता है। साजिद मीर का मामला, जिसमें इस आतंकवादी को पाकिस्तान ने मृत घोषित कर दिया था और फिर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय दबाव के परिणाम स्वरूप वो जीवित पाया गया, इसका सबसे स्पष्ट उदाहरण है। यह स्वाभाविक है कि पहलगाम में हुए इस हमले से जम्मू और कश्मीर के साथ साथ भारत के अन्य भागों में भी आक्रोश देखा गया। हमलों के बाद भारत सरकार ने स्वाभाविक रूप से पाकिस्तान के साथ संबंधों को लेकर कुछ कदम उठाए। आप सभी उन निर्णयों से अवगत हैं जिसकी घोषणा 23 अप्रैल को की गई थी। तथापि यह आवश्यक समझा गया कि 22 अप्रैल के हमले के अपराधियों और उनके योजनाकारों को न्याय के कटघरे में लाया जाए। हमलों के एक पखवाड़े के बाद भी पाकिस्तान द्वारा अपने क्षेत्र या अपने नियंत्रण वाले क्षेत्रों में आतंकवादियों की इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विरुद्ध कार्यवाही करने के लिए कोई स्पष्ट कदम नहीं उठाया गया है। उल्टे वो इनकार करने और आरोप लगाने में ही लिप्त रहा है। पाकिस्तान आधारित आतंकवादी मॉड्यूल्स पर हमारी खुफिया निगरानी ने संकेत दिया है कि भारत के विरुद्ध आगे भी हमले हो सकते हैं। अतः इनको रोकना और इनसे निपटना दोनों को बेहद आवश्यक समझा गया। आज सुबह, जैसा कि आपको ज्ञात होगा, भारत ने इस तरह के सीमा पार हमलों का जवाब देने और उन्हें रोकने तथा उनका प्रतिरोध करने के अपने अधिकार का प्रयोग किया है। यह कार्यवाही नपीतुली, नॉन एस्केलेटरी, आनुपातिक और जिम्मेदारीपूर्ण है। यह आतंकवाद की इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को समाप्त करने और भारत में भेजे जाने वाले संभावित आतंकवादियों को अक्षम बनाने पर केंद्रित है। आपको यह भी स्मरण होगा कि 25 अप्रैल 2025 को संयुक्त राष्ट्र सुरक्षा परिषद ने पहलगाम आतंकवादी हमले पर एक प्रेस वक्तव्य जारी किया था, जिसमें आतंकवाद के इस निंदनीय कार्य के अपराधियों, आयोजकों, फाइनेंसरों और प्रायोजकों को जवाबदेह ठहराने और उन्हें न्याय के दायरे में लाने की आवश्यकता पर जोर दिया गया था। भारत की आज की इस कार्रवाई को इसी संदर्भ में देखा जाना चाहिए। Good morning. Thank you all for joining this briefing. As you are all aware, on April 22, 2025, Pakistani and Pakistan-trained terrorists belonging to the Lashkar-e-Taiba carried out a savage attack on Indian tourists at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir in India. They murdered 26 people, including one national of Nepal, causing the largest number of civilian casualties in a terrorist attack in India since the 26 November 2008 attacks in Mumbai. The attack in Pahalgam was marked by extreme barbarity, with the victims mostly killed with headshots from close range and in front of their families. Family members were deliberately traumatized through the manner of the killing, accompanied by the exhortation that they should take back the message. The attack was clearly undermined Kashmir. In particular, it was designed to impact the main economy, tourism. 23 million tourists last. Calculation presumably was the youth keep it backward and create fertile ground for continued cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. The manner of the attack was also driven by an objective of provoking communal discord, both in Jammu and Kashmir and the rest of the nation. It is to the credit of the government and the people of India that these designs were foiled. A group calling itself the Resistance Front has claimed responsibility for the attack. This group is a front for the UN proscribed Pakistani terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba. It is notable that India had given inputs about the TRF in the half-yearly report to the monitoring team of the UN's 1267 Sanctions Committee in May and November 2024, bringing out its role as a cover for Pakistan-based terrorist groups. Earlier too, in December 2023, India had informed the monitoring team about Lashkar and Jaish-e-Mohammed operating through small terror groups such as the TRF. Pakistan's pressure to remove references to TRF in the April 25 UN Security Council press statement is notable in this regard. Investigations into the Pahalgam terror attack have brought out the communication notes of terrorists in and to Pakistan. The claims made by the Resistance Front and their reposting by known social media handles of the Lashkar-e-Taiba speak for themselves. Identification of the attackers based on eyewitness accounts as well as other information available to law enforcement agencies has also progressed. Our intelligence has developed an accurate picture of the planners and backers of this team. The features of this attack also tie in with Pakistan's long track record of perpetrating cross-border terror in India, which is well documented and beyond question. Pakistan also has a well-deserved reputation as a haven for terrorists from around the world, with internationally proscribed terrorists enjoying impunity there. In addition, Pakistan has been known to willfully mislead the world and international forums, such as the Financial Action Task Force, on this issue. The Sajid Mir case, in which this terrorist was declared dead and then, in response to international pressure, brought back to life, found alive and arrested, is the most glaring example. The latest attack in Pahalgam has understandably generated deep anger in Jammu and Kashmir and in other parts of India. Following the attacks, the government of India naturally responded with a set of initial measures relating to our engagement with Pakistan. You're all aware of the decisions that were announced on the 23rd of April. However, it was deemed essential that the perpetrators and planners of the 22nd April attack be brought to justice. Despite a fortnight having passed since the attacks, there has been no demonstrable step from Pakistan to take action against the terrorist infrastructure on its territory or on territory under its control. Instead, all it has indulged in are denials and allegations. Our intelligence monitoring of Pakistan-based terrorist modules indicated that further attacks against India were impending. There was thus a compulsion both to deter and to preempt. Earlier this morning, as you would be aware, India exercised its right to respond and preempt as well as deter more such cross-border attacks. These actions were measured, non-escalatory, proportionate, and responsible. They focused on dismantling the terrorist infrastructure and disabling terrorists likely to be sent across to India. You would also recall that the Security Council on 25th April 2025 had issued a press statement on the Pahalgam terror attack, underlining, and I quote, the need to hold perpetrators, organizers, financiers, and sponsors of this reprehensible act of terrorism accountable and bring them to justice, unquote. India's latest actions should be seen in this context. Joining me for this briefing on our actions earlier this morning are Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh. I will request them to share some details regarding Operation Sindoor with all of you.
सुप्रभात देवियों और सज्जनों, मैं कर्नल सोफिया कुरैशी और मेरे साथ विंग कमांडर व्योमिका सिंह आज आपको 6 से 7 मई 2025 की रात 1:05 से 1:30 बजे के बीच भारतीय सशस्त्र बलों द्वारा अंजाम दिए गए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बारे में जानकारी देंगे। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम में हुए विभत्स आतंकवादी हमले के शिकार मासूम नागरिकों व उनके परिवारों को न्याय देने के लिए लॉन्च किया गया था। इस कार्रवाई में 9 टेररिस्ट कैंप्स को टारगेट किया गया और पूरी तरह से इसे बर्बाद किया गया। पाकिस्तान में पिछले 3 दशकों से टेरर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का निर्माण हो रहा है। इसमें रिक्रूटमेंट, इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन सेंटर्स, ट्रेनिंग एरियाज व लॉन्च पैड शामिल थे, जो पाकिस्तान और पाक अधिकृत जम्मू कश्मीर POK दोनों में फैले हैं।
Operation Sindoor was launched by Indian Armed Forces to deliver justice to the victims of Pahalgam terror attack and their families. 9 terrorist camps were targeted and successfully destroyed. Over the last 3 decades, Pakistan has systematically built terror infrastructure. It is a complex web of recruitment and indoctrination centers, training areas for initial and refresher courses, and launch pads for handlers. These camps are located both in Pakistan as well as Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir areas. Some of the well-known training camps are located, as you can see on the screen. They are distributed from Savai Nala in the north, counting to approximately 21, ending at Bhagalpur to the south.
इन लक्ष्यों का चयन विश्वसनीय इंटेलिजेंस सूचनाओं के आधार पर हुआ ताकि आतंक गतिविधियों की रीढ़ तोड़ी जा सके, और यह खास ध्यान दिया गया कि निर्दोष नागरिकों और सिविलियन इंस्टॉलेशन को नुकसान न पहुंचे।
The selection of these targets for Operation Sindoor was based on credible intelligence inputs and role of these facilities in perpetrating the terror activities. The locations were so selected to avoid damage to civilian infrastructures and loss of any civilian lives. This was done with due diligence, and the camps selected for targeting and their engagement will now be shown to you one by one.
POK के टारगेट आपको बताना चाहूंगी। सबसे पहले सवाई नाला कैंप मुजफ्फराबाद, जो कि POK के लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल से 30 किलोमीटर दूर है। यह एक लश्कर तौयबा का ट्रेनिंग सेंटर था। 20 अक्टूबर 2024 सोनमर्ग, 24 अक्टूबर 24 गुलमर्ग, 22 अप्रैल 2025 पहलगाम, इन हमलों के आतंकियों ने यहीं से प्रशिक्षण लिया था। सैयदना बिलाल कैंप मुजफ्फराबाद, यह एक जैश मोहम्मद का स्टेजिंग एरिया है। यह हथियार, विस्फोटक और जंगल सर्वाइवल ट्रेनिंग का केंद्र भी था। गुलपुर कैंप कोटली, यह LOC से 30 किलोमीटर दूर था। लश्कर तौयबा का बेस था, जो रजौरी पुंछ में सक्रिय था। 20 अप्रैल 2023 को पुंछ में और 9 जून 2024 को तीर्थ यात्रियों के बस हमले में यहीं से आतंकी को ट्रेन किया गया था। बरनाला कैंप बिम्बर, यह LOC से 9 किलोमीटर दूर है। यहां पर हथियार, हैंडलिंग, IED व जंगल सर्वाइवल का प्रशिक्षण केंद्र था। अब्बास कैंप कोटली, यह LOC से 13 किलोमीटर दूर है। अब मैं पाकिस्तान के अंदर के टारगेट से अवगत कराना चाहूंगी। पहला, सर्जल कैंप सियालकोट, यह अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सीमा से 6 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर है, सांबा कठवा के सामने। मार्च 2025 में जम्मू एंड कश्मीर पुलिस के 4 जवानों को जो हत्या की गई थी, उन आतंकवादियों को इस जगह पर ट्रेन किया गया था। दूसरा, महमूना जाया कैंप सियालकोट, यह 18 से 12 किलोमीटर आईबी से दूर था। हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन का बहुत बड़ा कैंप था। ये कठुआ जम्मू क्षेत्र में आतंक फैलाने का नियंत्रण केंद्र था। पठानकोट एयरफोर्स बेस पर किया गया हमला भी इसी कैंप से प्लान और डायरेक्ट किया गया था। मरकज ताइबा मुरीद के, यह आईबी से 18 से 25 किलोमीटर दूरी पर है। 2008 के मुंबई हमले के आतंकी भी यहीं से प्रशिक्षित हुए थे। अजमल कसब और डेविड हेडली भी यहां ट्रेन हुए थे।
आगे दूसरा आया। Enclosure same ही है। Just hit the target.
मरकज सुभान अल्लाह भावलपुर ये इंटरनेशनल बाउंड्री से 100 किलोमीटर दूर है। जैश ए मोहम्मद का मुख्यालय था। यहाँ पर रिक्रूटमेंट, ट्रेनिंग व इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन का केंद्र भी था। शीर्ष आतंकी अक्सर यहाँ आते थे। मैं आप सबको बताना चाहती हूँ कि किसी भी सैन्य ठिकाने का निशाना नहीं बनाया गया और अभी तक किसी तरह की नागरिक क्षति की रिपोर्ट नहीं है। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
The strike on the terror camps were undertaken through precision capability, as shown to you. A niche technology weapons with careful selection of warheads was ensured so that there will be no collateral damage. The point of impact in each of the target was a specific building or a group of buildings. All the targets were neutralized with clinical efficiency, and the results reiterate the professionalism of the Indian Armed Forces in the planning and execution of their operations. No military establishments were targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in its response. However, it must be said that the Indian Armed Forces are fully prepared to respond to Pakistani misadventures, if any, that will escalate this situation. Jai Hind, and thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends in the media, I ask your indulgence today in view of the fact that this is still an evolving situation. We will therefore not be able to take questions and answers today, but we will come back for more updates and more briefings shortly. Thank you all very much for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Nabila, two things are very, very clear.
Yeah.
One, we have clearly indicated that this was a top-end sort of an Air Force operation that they have done in context of the depth and sort of pinpointed attack that we conducted.
On terror buildings.
On terror building, which means either drones or the loitering ammunition or guided ammunition. This is something which the Air Force does. Secondly, There is no clarity how we did it. Did we cross the border? Did we do it from the border?
Yeah.
That clarity is not there because operational details are not being
Shared,
shared. Third, the sort of counter propaganda that the Pakistani, the bots, the social media handles were making, I think since that issue has not been addressed, it means that it was all false news about planes and other things which were being discussed. And the fourth and the most important takeaway is that they have tied it with Kasab and 2611. I think that's the most important takeaway because she said that this is the place where Kasab and Headley got the training. So this is tied with 2611.
It was immensely detailed as to how India has carried out this precision strike, as they've gone back to years of terror that Pakistan has indulged in and strikes against India. And broken down in detail of the terror hideouts that are located in those locations that they've targeted. So, they, and unlike Pakistan, who's killing civilians, huge respect for India today, despite being so emotional. And at this point, India is at the, there is this sense of retribution. And despite that, we targeted only terror hideouts.
And I think both of them, Vyomika Singh and Colonel Sophia Qureshi, both of them made it very clear which terror operation was harbored and conceived in which place. So actually they tied it down. So the detailing was in context of how the terror operations were being planned from these bases, one. And the second part was Kasab and Headley. Because Vikram Misri in his opening statement said that this was the biggest attack after 2611. I think we have a short bite of Vikram Misri. Let's play it again and then we start the conversation on this.
As you are all aware, on April 2025, Pakistani and Pakistan-trained terrorists belonging to the Lashkar-e-Taiba carried out a savage attack on Indian tourists at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir in India. They murdered 26 people, including one national of Nepal, causing the largest number of civilian casualties in a terrorist attack in India since the 26 November 2008 attacks in Mumbai. The attack in Pahalgam was marked by extreme barbarity, with the victims mostly killed with headshots from close range and in front of their families. Family members were deliberately traumatized through the manner of the killing, accompanied by the exhortation that they should take back the message. The attack was clearly driven by the objective of undermining the normalcy returning to Jammu and Kashmir. In particular, it was designed to impact the mainstay of the economy, tourism, with a record 23 million tourists visiting the valley last year. Our intelligence monitoring of Pakistan-based terrorist modules indicated that further attacks against India were impending. There was thus a compulsion both to deter and to preempt. Earlier this morning, as you would be aware, India exercised its right to respond and preempt as well as deter more such cross-border attacks. These actions were measured, non-escalatory, proportionate and responsible. They focused on dismantling the terrorist infrastructure. In addition, Pakistan has been known to willfully mislead